Steven Crowder made a video a couple days back. I didn't even watch it. Didn't really care. I thought it was yet another one of his like bullshit, like big conservatives are fighting alongside big tech now. I didn't really understand the significance of his video because I didn't watch it. Then I found out that it was actually about him complaining about a contract. Now, I myself am a content creator in the political arena, in the political space. So, I understand what it's like when you get underpaid. When a big platform is taking away your work and only giving you back a percentage that you have no control over. Okay? So maybe this is going to be good. Let's take a look. Here is Steven Crowder complaining about a contract that was given to him by Big Con. Now, we don't know which conservative corporation has offered him a contract. We don't know the details of the contract at this moment. And a lot of people, including Jordan Peterson, actually, decided that this was valid. Jordan Peterson, since then, when new revelations came out, deleted that tweet offering support to Steven Crowder. But let's take a look at what he had to say.
Big tech is in bed with Big Con. The people you thought, the people I thought were fighting for you, a lot of it has been a big con. Now, I'm specifically avoiding naming names or going after individuals in this video because I genuinely hope that those I'm addressing, and you know who you are, have a change of heart. Don't sign these contracts. I now know what you are signing out there. I have the luxury of not having to. Let me go through this. If any of the major platforms issues a content strike such that Crowder cannot be monetized on such platform, the fee will be reduced by 25%. And then another 20% of it happens on Apple. And then another 10% of it happens on Facebook. And then another 10% of it happens on Spotify. And then if you get a strike, meaning a suspension, another 20%. Just to drive it home. You get hit by a car, you have a sick day, you could lose $100,000 a day. This is what's sent out to everybody. Big tech is in bed.
And we didn't know at the time what the details of this contract were, but turns out, and Will Sommer actually did a pretty good job covering this, there's a big feud breaking out tonight between the two of the biggest names in right-wing media. It pits Steven Crowder against Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire all over $50 million that Steven Crowder was offered as a first round of negotiations, which implies that it was going to go up higher over a 4-year contract that he found so offensive that Crowder leaked the terms of the offer. Now, yesterday, Crowder, newly independent and trying to build his own media company, released the terms of the deal without naming Daily Wire. Crowder made this out to be a big whistleblower moment, urging his fans to fight Big Con and join his email list, of course. As is the case, get my mugs, buy my shitty products that I make in Indonesia that I upmark by 100x as I shill you more unfettered, untampered, racist, agitated propaganda. Crowder focused on two parts of the offer in his video: that he would lose money if he failed to deliver all of his contracted episodes, and that his money could be reduced if he was banned from YouTube or other platforms. He left out that this contract was over $50 million as an opening offer. Fans quickly figured out Crowder was talking about the Daily Wire. So last night, the Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring, this right-wing mogul empire builder character, put out his own hour-long video effectively calling Crowder a moron for misconstruing the offer. The reaction among the right-wing fan base was initially with Crowder, as I talked about, but now seems to be shifting against him with the revelation that he treated a $50 million contract like it was indentured servitude. One final detail, and we can look at the full Crowder video as well, but that's 28 minutes long, and I really don't want to look at it. I will just look at the high notes, the highlights. Jordan Peterson, whose podcast is hosted by the Daily Wire, as I already pointed to, was apparently unaware of who Crowder's video was actually about and initially tweeted his support for him. Someone appears to have gotten to him, though, because Peterson later deleted the tweet. In his video, Steven Crowder insists that this is a slave contract and says there's no need to be enslaved like this. Then the Daily Wire revealed this slave contract was for $50 million over 4 years, 4 weeks off a year, and Crowder never working Fridays. Not a bad deal. Now, as someone who makes a lot of money and is a political commentator, I will tell you this much. I think it's more so that Crowder feels that his autonomy is being taken away from him in this contract, and that's most of his concerns, okay? I'm going to be as charitable as I can to Steven Crowder, thinking about Steven Crowder like he is not Steven Crowder, but instead a fucking human being who is worthy of $50 million for a brief moment, just for the sake of this argument, okay? Ultimately, one of the funniest parts about this is the reality that there is a racism clause in the contract. Steven Crowder is understandably upset. I mean, we're not talking about his indentured servitude complaints because that's hilarious, okay? Shut the fuck up. But what is funny about this is that because he is famous for racism and because that's his output, that's his content in general, he is noticeably frustrated by the fact that he's like, you want me to do racism for you, Daily Wire, under the Daily Wire banner, but you are also simultaneously asking me telling me that I can't get banned. I got no more drama. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I find that to be particularly funny. I find that to be fucking outright hilarious. He's like, but you want me to do my thing. It's like telling LeBron James that, like, if he puts up more than fucking 30 points a game, they're going to cut his funding. Because Steven Crowder is the LeBron James of racism. They're like, hey, Steph Curry, nice contract you got here. We're going to give you hundreds of millions of dollars. You can't shoot three-pointers. You're just not allowed. At any given game, you are no longer allowed to shoot three-pointers. It's like, brother, that's why you hired me. You know? So in a weird way, I understand why he's upset. Because he's like, of course I'm going to get banned. I am the best at getting banned. I'm such a fucking racist. You love my racism. You want me to do it under the banner of Daily Wire. But then you get mad if that racism ends up, costing you contracts. The reaction among right-wing fan base we talked about already. Possibly relevant in November, roughly 2 months after the Daily Wire negotiation broke down, Steven Crowder was defending Kanye by complaining about people with Jewish last names in conservative media, duping talent with confusing contracts. Now, one thing, I mean, there's so many components of the story that I, of course, want to talk about. I tweeted about this last night. The thing I said about it was that, it's really funny that these guys condition their audience into hating someone like myself. Commie grifter, you make so much money. Meanwhile, the money I make comes directly from voluntary subscriptions to an otherwise free form of entertainment. You can get it for free. Not only that, but you can even use it for free as the IP is released. And people still choose to give $5 or a free Twitch Prime subscription, right? And I'm not touching the amount of revenue that Steven Crowder is demanding, the amount of contracts that Steven Crowder is like apparently comfortable receiving. And yet people still, his peons still unironically and expectedly turned around and did the same defense. They were like, oh, shut the fuck up. I don't know how they have this kind of money, though. Okay? I don't know how. I do not understand how the Daily Wire franchise has this kind of money. My expectation is that oil barons, like the ones that started the Daily Wire with a $4.7 million investment back in 2015, are continuously pumping them full of funds, because there is no fucking way you can give Steven Crowder $50 million, a $50 million over the course of 4-year contracts. Like, you just can't do it. There's no shot. That is CNN money. Okay? It's not just Facebook money. That is CNN money. even if they are making $100 million a year, which I think is a really high amount, offering 50 just to like buy out the other competitor, I guess, and put them under their banner, that's insane. There has to be some nefarious, nebulous ways that these guys are getting funded. Anderson Cooper makes $12 million a year, by the way. Under this contract, Crowder would make $12.5 million a year. I mean, how much money does CNN generate, though? CNN's yearly revenue is $2 billion annually. CNN generates $2 billion. Do you think the Daily Wire generates $2 billion? There is something that does not make sense about this. Dude, they spent over $10 million on a movie that made 13 grand on opening week. I know. But this is not a sustainable business unless there are additional funds coming from somewhere. It makes no fucking sense. The Daily Wire says it is a $100 million a year business. A $100 million a year business offering $12.5 million to Steven Crowder is insane. That's crazy. Now, before we continue to investigate like how they are able to generate this much wealth, I want to talk about one other aspect of this story. And that aspect of the story is directed at all of my supposedly leftist criticizers who say, Hasan, you are simply a grifter. You are not a Maoist third worldist like I am living in Iowa. If I wanted to grift, why the fuck would I be on your side? Why would I be around people who genuinely generate content by just shitting on whoever they perceive as the largest leftist out there? This is what the left is known for. Self-defeating dumbasses. It is infinitely and unimaginably better for me to be a right-wing grifter. If I had no convictions, if I did not have a true moral compass, if I didn't care about what the fuck I was saying and the impact that I may or may not have on a future generation, then I would just be a right-wing grifter. It is not hard to be a right-wing grifter. These guys are not very entertaining. Dave Rubin is enough for you to understand. Dave Rubin has a sustainable business. If I can make left-wing content entertaining, you bet your fucking ass I can make right-wing content entertaining. Okay? So I just want people to understand this because there is something there that I had to bring up, you know? Unimaginable. CNN makes $2 billion a year in revenue. Fox News, what, makes 13? Is that true? You do not need to be smart. You do not need to be unique. They are not expecting you to be unique. You do not need to be charismatic to be a right-wing broadcaster. You just need to say the words. Okay? Yes, I know that the Daily Wire was originally funded to the tune of $4.7 million in a first round of funding in 2015 by two investors, the brothers, the Wilkes brothers. Now, I'll just mention another thing. These guys also fund the PragerU as well. How fracking billionaires Ben Shapiro and PragerU built the climate crisis denial empire. I'll mention another thing. If you're wondering why so many smaller left-wing content creators that start off on the left always end up becoming right-wing shills that defend Donald Trump even, okay? You have the fucking answer right here. It is infinitely easier to be a right-wing grifter, and it's infinitely more bountiful, okay? That's why you see so many broadcasters make that right-wing heel turn, okay? It's not an accident. So please, for the love of Christ, next time you criticize not just me, but any other left-wing content creator, keep that in your fucking mind when you're talking about how they're grifting. There are not that many examples of people like myself on the left. The left has to be self-funded. The left, as a position, as an ideological position, is always advocating against the structures, advocating against the interests of the wealthy, advocating against the interests of corporations. That kind of agitative propaganda has to be funded by grassroots. It cannot be solo funded. Because it's going against the accumulation and concentration of wealth and power. That is why it's infinitely harder. Okay? Not that it fucking matters, because I have a profoundly fortunate life. I'm very privileged. I love what I do. I feel incredibly emotionally fulfilled. And I've been doing the exact same thing back when I had no funding by my subscribers, back when I had 35 people watching, and I'm doing the same shit at a much larger capacity now that I have 71,000 subscribers. Okay? So I just wanted to point that again. And I talk about this all the fucking time. I talked about this with the Alex Jones shit. It just falls on deaf ears. Okay? Now there is another thing that I must talk about here. And that is the value of propaganda. A lot of dummies, especially well-intentioned dummies on the left, routinely forget that propaganda is profoundly important. Obviously, you are stupid and don't recognize that. So all you do is fucking chirp. You know who does recognize the value of propaganda? Billionaires who fund these right-wing operations, regardless of their lack of content, their lack of character, and regardless of how uncool, undesirable, and undisruptive they are, and unentertaining they are, they still get hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. Because rich people understand the importance of marketing. Rich people understand the importance of propaganda. Rich people understand the importance of PR. Stop self-defeating. You're on the left and you see this shit, stop fucking chirping. Stop fucking complaining. You pathetic fucking losers. Okay? You might not understand the value of propaganda. You might not understand the value of someone out there trying to portray themselves as a unifying figure for leftist ideas, okay? But rich people always do. They recognize it, okay? Here's an article from the Daily Wire for the first time revealing the size of its paid subscriber base. They claim they have close to 600,000 subscribers now paying for one of its 3 membership tiers, benefits of which include access to a growing slate of feature-length films, podcasts, and eventually kids programming, among other content. I don't believe that number. I don't. Rich man praises rich people for being good at propaganda. No, rich man understands the value of propaganda and explains to motherfuckers that they're being propagandized, that they are engaging in self-defeating methods when they fucking shit on me. Why do I think the number is wrong? 600,000 people paying $5 a month seems insane. I don't know what their membership tiers look like, but that is an unimaginable amount of money. $8 is the smallest. That's also something you can very easily hide because that's private information. It's a private company. You could just like have one guy dump 400,000 subscriber worth money, subscribers worth of $8 subscriptions into their subscription, and then they beef up their number on their end, and you will be none the wiser. You have no idea. They can just lie about it. The Daily Wire is close to outgrowing its name, or at least the part of its name implying the fire hose of information obtained from something like a newswire. You are not immune to propaganda, exactly. To be sure, a mix of quick hit takes plus original reporting does still comprise the centerpiece of the Daily Wire's operation, but starting with the rollout a few years ago, what's proven to be a successful paywall under co-CEO Jeremy Boring, the company has also now matured to the point that its multifaceted commercial ambitions actually feel at least conceptually more aligned with a publisher like the New York Times. Oh, okay, so it's $8 a month, $12 a month, or $14 a month. In June 2022, founder said the Daily Wire had 890,000 paid subscribers. In November, they stated that they had surpassed 1 million paying subscribers. That would mean $8 million a month that they're making at the very least. It also means they lost 400K subs in like 3 months, right? No, that Forbes article is older than the one that we're watching, the one that we're reading. That's from April. In April, they said they had 600. And then in June, they said they had 890,000. And now they're stating in November last year, they have surpassed 1 million paying subscribers. 1 million paying subscribers. Look at the weird stuff these people be buying, like the Rambo Trump paintings. Dynamic Jab 13, thank you for the 7 gifted subs. Podcasts and radio. In addition to its written content, they produce several podcasts: Ben Shapiro Show, The Michael Knowles Show, The Matt Walsh Show, The Andrew Klavan Show. The reach of the Ben Shapiro Show expanded in April 2018 when Westwood One began syndicating the podcast to radio. They made it into a nationally syndicated 2-hour live radio show. That greatly expands your reach, by the way. That is like, for conservative media, this is actually an avenue that most people do not recognize. Like Alex Jones does this too. Uncle with a good take. As a person who runs a digital media company, I can tell you with absolute certainty that Ben Shapiro is right and Steven Crowder is wrong about this. The only thing Shapiro is wrong about is offering that much money for this jack bag. Watch Jeremy's video in which he reads word for word the entire non-binding term sheet Daily Wire Plus offered my friend Steven Crowder, $50 million over 4 years, explains every contract term, and encourages people to subscribe to whatever Steven does next. We all wish him nothing but the best. Yeah, conservative radio syndication is not only huge money, but also insane reach. That's another one. This kind of thing, I'm not kidding, is so incredibly discouraging. AM radio in 2023, you're delusional if you think that is not infinitely popular in the rest of the country. You are stuck in your, and I hate to use this term, bicoastal elitist neoliberal bubbles if you think that radio is not legitimately a gigantic space still. A type, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. In 2020, the Daily Wire acquired the entirety of PragerU's content. In January 2021, the Daily Wire released Run, Hide, Fight, a feature-length drama about a mass shooting. Again, these are like unimaginably unsuccessful media ventures. As far as Ben Shapiro's podcast goes, that is a very successful media venture. What is this? DailyWire.com traffic stats. 31 million visits. I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know. For the month. But I can tell you this much. Steven Crowder has made a living off of peddling racist, bigoted, misogynistic, transphobic commentary. Anti-poor, pro-capitalist, just an awful person. I would say probably like everything that I believe, he believes the exact opposite. And that motherfucker, as far as I know, as far as I understand, as far as like the cultural relevance of Steven Crowder, especially on the platforms that we both operate on, is nowhere near as large as my monthly output is. Steven Crowder, on his own personal YouTube page, according to Social Blade, as I looked at earlier this morning, is only getting 13 million views. Okay? He's getting 13 million views a month. He has another YouTube Bits page. Okay, he has another YouTube Bits page as well. Hold on, we're going to get to the traffic and stuff like that. That's 13 million views. That's a lot of views. Please do not mistake this. That is a lot of views, okay? Not a little amount of views. I myself, this month at least, have gotten 19 million views. That's up 55%. From what I understand, the last time I checked this, if you recall, I was at 25 million views, I thought, which was what was going on my monthly view count. It's lower than I thought it was. But listen, it doesn't end there. It does not end there. There's also the Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex. Because I released my IP for you to use whichever way you want to. Whichever way you want to. The Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex totals 55 to 60 million views a month. My clip channels, someone actually did the totality. Someone actually did the math, because there is a hub where you can find all the Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex, channels and whatnot. That's literally fucking 70 million views minimum a month. Overall. So how the fuck are right-wing grifters getting offended at $50 million for a 4-year contract when like their output, when Steven Crowder's output, at least on YouTube, is resembling not me, but my fucking fan channel. My fan channel, Hasanabi Productions. okay, made by a fan in here, not affiliated with myself, gets 9 million video views on his own. That's not me. I don't see a single dime of that. That's all him. My fucking unaffiliated fan channel is almost catching up to Steven Crowder's like personal channel with 5 million subscribers. Explain this to me. Make this fucking make sense. On what planet is Daily Wire dumping $50 million into Steven Crowder? How? I understand the value of propaganda. Okay? I understand the value. Obviously, I do it. It's my job. My job is to understand it. I fight against it. I combat against it. But I don't understand exactly how valuable right-wing propaganda is. Oh, this is This is the HasanHub.com creator. Applying a conservative 1,000 per million views, we get a hypothetical 275,000, which the clip channels might have made up until now. Obviously, not all were monetized or even are now, so that's just an estimate. This was also, Christian was the one who showed total views and monthly views of all of the Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex clips. Tanklin, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. D-Pipes, thank you for the 3 gifted subs. And a Type, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. It's their bread and butter, dude. They're going to invest everything into it. They can't win on policy, but win with the messaging. But they don't win with the messaging. And also, not only do they not win with the messaging, what doesn't make sense, what does not make sense to me, is how this is a sustainable enterprise, how this is a sustainable business. Probably why a lot of bigger conservatives avoid you like the plague. Delusional Colin Kaepernick compares slavery to $1 million contracts. That's so funny. I fucking hate Noam Blum. He is the right-wing piece of shit. He is very much the right-wing piece of shit that Steven Crowder is as well, just not even as popular as Steven Crowder. But it is pretty funny that he got him like this. Of course he got him like this. Of course Steven Crowder has done something like this. It does not make sense. I don't understand it. And the reason why I don't understand it is not because it's like, oh, I don't get it. Like, I'm more popular than he is. Why is he getting paid so much? I'm like putting on my capitalist cap on. You know what I mean? I'm putting that cap on. And I'm thinking, like, how the fuck is this person valued at this level? How is that possible? I mean, look at this. Even on Google fucking Trends, dude. Even on Google Trends. This makes no sense. How can a $100 million a year business that is supposed to want to make money turn around and justify dumping $12.5 million a year into this guy? I don't get it. I don't. He brings in his own subs. I guess, possibly. I don't know. It just does not, something about this does not add up, okay? It just doesn't add up at all. But I never want to hear from dumbasses about how much money I make ever again. Okay? I never want to hear that from you. My funding vehicle is you voluntarily giving me $5 a month or a free donation in the form of a Twitch Prime by avoiding the top of the hour ad break. Okay? If you want to avoid the top of the hour ad break, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free. Okay? You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Those are the Oilers. YOLO Asian, thank you for the 7 gifted subs, allowing 7 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Okay? It's Meekle, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. I do not touch the revenues that Steven Crowder is expecting. It's not even a revenue, it's wages that he is expecting, with all things considered. As the largest left-wing broadcaster on the fucking planet right now, and one of the largest Twitch streamers on the fucking planet, on top of everything else right now, it is mind-boggling to me that the right has funding vehicles that are unimaginable. Like, there's no shot that they're just making straight. They're minting dollary dues in the way that they are justifying this level of fucking wages for this kind of contract for someone like Steven Crowder. New York Biddy, thank you for the 5 gifted. D-Pipes, thank you for the 3 gifted. Nanner767, thank you for the 5. The Codebreaker, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. There's just no fucking way. There's just no fucking way, dude. There's no way. Here's a 3-minute ad break now, by the way. This is why they complain about Soros constantly. They know that they're 100% the creation of right-wing billionaires, so they project onto the left. Yeah, that was a fire segue, I know. 919, I deserve that one. Does anything on the left come close to the Daily Wire? Fuck no. Who? I am the Daily Wire as a single person. And I'm nowhere near that shit, dude. They make $100 million a fucking year. Are you insane? That's what every crusty anarchist thinks I make a day, I guess, because they have no concept of money. I will be demanding a slave contract from the Daily Wire immediately. We'll be discussing this on Timcast tonight, that and everything else. Oh, this is awesome. This is fucking awesome. Wow. Damn, Candace is being underpaid. Oh, no.
$1. We get $1. What do we do? What do you do with?
So now that we've done our dunking on Stephen Jebediah Crowder here with his measly 13 million views a month, and we've also made fun of how awful their documentaries and all this shit is. And we took a gander on how they fund themselves or whatever. Let's take a look at the offer.
Our friend Steven Crowder has launched a new initiative called Stop Big Con. And in the video announcing the launch of the project, he talked about leaving the blaze and all the different offers that he fielded from other conservative organizations.
Yes, Brett
and
Cooper
what he thought
is
were
a
the
part
real
of this.
problems with those offers. And that's led a lot of people to speculate about whether or not the Daily Wire is one of the people who made him an offer. In particular, are we the ones who made the offer that he put up on the screen and talked about at length? And the answer is yes, that offer did come from the Daily Wire. I'm not trying to hide that fact. I'm not ashamed of that fact. In fact, I think it's a very good.
Everyone is a liberal. Everyone in the United States of America in 2023 is a liberal. And there is no better representation of that undeniable fact than the fucking Daily Wire offices. Look behind this man and tell me that this is not the gayest office space you've seen. This is the exact same as the Young Turks. Okay? This is just, that's it. Everyone does the same shit. I can tell you with a certainty what kind of snacks they offer in their fucking kitchen that they have. Every single office looks like this. Down to the fucking trees, dude. You know they got motherfucking peanut butter filled pretzels in there, okay? And you never can get them because someone keeps hoarding them. They come in early and they steal all of them, and then you never get to have some. But you know they have it. You've seen it. You've heard rumors about it.
Good offer. But I think there's a lot of sort of misconceptions about the nature of the offer, the nature of the points. I think Stephen misunderstood a lot of the points. And so the way we do here at the Daily Wire, we're just going to be incredibly transparent. You know that we like to have our members be a part of the journey. We live stream all of our company town halls, for example. We just find that sunlight sometimes is the best disinfectant. And so with that in mind, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we came to be in conversations with Stephen, how those conversations ended, and walk you just line by line through what the actual document that we sent over to him, a non-binding term sheet, what it actually said and why. First thing you should know is that I'm really miserable to be making this video. Stephen's been my friend for 10 years. I think he's maybe the most talented person working in the conservative media space. He's one of the top entertainers in the country, politics notwithstanding, a great...
I love that. Like, I think that demonstrates exactly the bar that you need to clear to be a conservative commentator. Like, they think Steven Crowder is a talented entertainer. That's it. There is no bar. You just have to do like race jokes from like 1994. You have to behave like a stunted child. Motherfucker made him seem like a great comic.
Comic voice. And I find it really tragic that we're having this kind of a conversation. But it's also very important, I think, that we talk about it, in particular because I know a lot of people who are fans of the Daily Wire were really offended by the things that Stephen said in the video, and they're concerned that maybe we're doing the wrong thing. And I think that by the time
I'll be back. I hope
video,
Twitch doesn't fucking
you'll
break while I'm
understand what we were
covering this
thinking
story.
with our term sheet and how we operate as a business a little bit better. I've wanted to be in business with Stephen since the day that I met him. Ben and I tried to do some even movie deals with Stephen before there was CRTV and before there was a Daily Wire. For that entire time, we've talked at length at various times about getting together and doing things. Of course, for most of that time, he's been under contract, first at CRTV and then at the Blaze. So we weren't able to. And from time to time during the years, we would get together and daydream a little bit about would there be a future for us to work together at the other end of that deal. We got word that Stephen was finishing up his time at the Blaze and was interested in having a conversation with us. And so we reached out to his agent and we said, listen, we'd love to have a conversation. It's not every day that a monster talent like Stephen comes on the market. We'd be bad businessmen if we didn't engage in a conversation with him. We weren't sure at that time if there was a deal to be had. I mean, for one thing, we're friends with Glenn, we're friends with Tyler, we're friends with all the guys at the Blaze. We weren't sure that we wanted to commit to making an offer to Stephen. And Stephen's an expensive talent. I mean, he's been in the business a long time. He has an enormous fan base, and we knew that it would take a lot of doing to get him over to the Daily Wire. This at the same time that we're investing very heavily in kids' entertainment content and making real television content, streaming scripted fiction like the Pendragon Cycle and Atlas Shrugged and other projects that we've taken on. Would we have the resources?
They're doing a really good job making Steven Crowder look like an absolute fucking bitch, by the way. Like, not only is the contract number, regardless, first of all, as someone in entertainment, I have to, again, I can't get over this fucking number, but like, as someone who's in entertainment, Steven Crowder as an entity does not deserve that level of wealth. It's just like, or what's a better way to mention this? It's not that he doesn't deserve that level of wealth, but like he's not generating that, okay? He's not generating that for his company. He's not generating that for himself, and he's not generating that for any company that he works for. $12.5 million a year is crazy, okay? Obviously, he deserves way worse shit, but I mean, like, as far as like your output, because like ultimately you might not agree with him, you might not agree with me, but there's a level of wealth that I'm generating for a company that I'm working for, which is reflected in the salary, right? It's like basketball players. Like, that doesn't make sense from a pure ROI perspective. The notion that he's getting 12.5 million a year does not make sense. Okay? You're not getting a return on that investment. You're just not. If they say swap from left to right and we'll give you 50 million, you doing it, this is such a funny fucking take because I've addressed it so many times. Not that it matters because people will never believe me, but of course not. I make a shitload of money. The amount of money I make now versus $50 million over the course of 4 years is literally not going to improve my life. I don't need it. It's not going to improve my life in any meaningful capacity. All the while, I just turn around and do something that I don't believe in, and that would suck. Okay? So why? The amount of subscribers I have is what also keeps me fucking honest. I don't need to do any of that. There is no difference with the amount of money for my life and my and the way I live and the way I exist. The difference between what I make now versus that level of money is not going to change my life. Because what the fuck? I don't, if I want to fly somewhere, if I want to take time off, and if I want to fucking fly somewhere right now, I could do that. You know what I mean? But I don't want to do that. I love what I do. The fuck am I going to do? Let's you be honest. You could always add corruption to it. I mean, it's just, I'm saying that, like, all things considered, asking someone who is broke, asking someone who's poor, whether they would take a $50 million contract to be like a right-wing shithead is very different than asking me. Because I understand if you're fucking starving, if you're suffering, I understand why you would easily take on unimaginable life-changing amounts of money. That amount of money is not going to change my life, not because it's like not significantly more than what I make now. It is, but it's not going to change my life because once you get to a certain point of money, your life is not going to dramatically change. Do you get it? I totally understand. I totally understand why someone would not even think about it twice, though. You know, if you're fucking stuck at a job that's paying you 38 grand a goddamn year and you get to sit on your ass and talk shit, you'll learn how to be racist real quick, even if you're not. You know what I mean? I'm the brokest, and no, some of us like you have integrity. I mean, that could be your, yeah. I mean, some people will have that. For sure. Anyway, let's continue.
Sources, we weren't sure. But again, you have to have the conversation. And we were happy to have it. So we reach out to the agent and we say that. We'd like to have a conversation with Stephen, kind of get into the details of what's he looking for? What's he looking for financially? What's he looking for in terms of structure? What would make his life better? What would make him happy? He's got this opportunity now to have a next chapter. What's he want that next chapter to be? And Stephen's agent candidly just wasn't interested in any aspect of that conversation. He only wanted to know about the money. He said, we're not going to have a conversation. We're not going to have some abstract talk. We're going to send us an offer. Tell us how much money you're willing to pay. And he gave us an indication of what the minimum number would have to be in order to even have a discussion with Stephen. And it's a big number. So we talked about it internally, and we decided, yeah, we should do that. We should send over an opening offer, a non-binding term sheet that takes a stab at what we think that minimum number is going to be to get the conversation started so that we can sit down with Stephen.
That minimum number was $50 million over the course of 4 years, which means $12.5 million a year. That's the starting. That's the other part of this conversation that we're forgetting. That is the starting point for their negotiations. That is, I'm sorry, that's unacceptably high, dude. Like, for someone like Steven Crowder, it makes no sense, dude. It makes no sense. Do you motherfuckers not have a salary cap out here? What the hell's going on? That's crazy, dog. Like, this dude, like, I'll tell you like this. That is an insane deal for someone like myself, okay? And my output is infinitely larger than Steven Crowder. No matter, like, I'm not glazing myself up, okay? I'm just telling you factually correct statements, okay? As far as, like, how many view counts, like, how much value I could generate potentially for a company, that's literally not true. Oh, it's just literally true. Exactly. It is. It's just true. It's objectively true. Okay? Also, on top of that, I'm running a one-man operation for the most part, obviously, and that also the one-man operation in of itself is like running for 8 fucking hours every day. You know what I mean? This is the main thing. Steven Crowder's working 4 days a week. Like, there's so much more to it, right? There's so much more to it on top of that. But, like, regardless, when you look at it, if I was like a media company, if Hasanabi was a media company in and of itself, its output and its revenue generation abilities and its overarching reach as a media company is significantly higher than Steven Crowder. It's just true. And that contract as a starting point is unimaginable. Unimaginable.
And so that we can see if there's a deal that'd be good for him and good for us. And that's what we did. We put together the term sheet, we sent it over, and we asked if we could get on the phone and have a conversation with Steven. I'm going to walk you through
Jealousy's
that
a disease,
document,
love,
what it says, what it doesn't say.
I don't
some
give
of
a
how
shit.
Steven
I already know that these motherfuckers make so much more money. Come on. I talk about it all the goddamn time.
represented it. I'm sure he feels like he was being accurate, but some of the things that he said are simply not true based on the text. And you know, Steven's a very passionate guy. I think that he's doing his level best to stand against what he sees as an injustice, but there is no injustice in this document, as I think you'll see. And then I'll tell you what happened right after we sent the document when I finally did get on the phone with Steven. So first, here's the document, the non-binding confidential term sheet. I'm just going to walk you through.
I just want to point something out. Again, Steven Crowder works 4 days a week. So that's like totaling what? 8 hours a week for $50 million. That's a $50 million contract that he's getting. Okay. I stream 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Oh my God. Okay.
Through it. Full transparency. This non-binding term sheet sets forth the basic deal points of a proposed content production and distribution agreement between the Daily Wire, LLC, a Texas limited liability company, and Steven Crowder via his loan out. So that if and when the parties elect to move forward with a long form.
Oh my God, this motherfucker goes, but half of it is Valo. That's it. That's it. That's the comment. We're going to go back to this one day. Snails be fast is the reason why I turned heel and I became a conservative grifter. That's it. It's over for you fools, okay?
Agreement, they can move quickly in preparing a definitive and binding agreement. That's just legalese. That means this is just a conversation starter, and we're obviously going to have a negotiation if we move forward, and a lot of these points are going to get beat up. And for those of you who've never been through a contract negotiation, well, that's how it works. When you send someone an offer, you don't send them everything that you're willing to say yes to, because there is going to be.
Thank you, Sasha Green, Spider Queen, for correcting the record. When this fucking idiot says Hasan Malding, stop Malding. This is such a well-oiled motherfucking machine. It's crazy.
Be a negotiation because agents and lawyers are going to get involved because you can't read their mind. And you don't know everything that will be important to them and everything that they'll want. You don't know even, some of their sort of non-negotiable points. And so you send over a loose offer, and then they're going to beat it up a little bit. They're going to say, well, this should be higher and this should be lower. And you're going to come back and say, no, we're going to stand firm here, but we're willing to compromise there. And over time, you either get to a deal or you don't get to a deal. But that's how a good faith negotiation always works. 100% of every interaction I've ever had with any talent, that's the process. And so here we go. Here was our offer. A 4-year initial term with 2-year renewal at DW's sole discretion. That just means Steven's going to work for DW for 4 years.
Yeah, no, this is half of its Valo, by the way. This in the mind of a news fan, this needs to be half of its size for them to still say they'll still say that's half of its Valo. Yeah. Like, there's motherfuckers in here being like, so a quarter of its value? Okay, that's half the fucking size of what you thought. We're not doing this right now.
And if it's going really well, DW can retain him for an additional 2 years. 2, the fee. And remember, this is the minimum number that we thought would get the conversation started with Stephen. $50 million for the initial term, plus $25 million for the renewal term, if extended, paid in monthly installments. Like I say, a pretty big number.
Wait. 4-year initial term with 2-year renewal at DW's sole discretion.
Extended,
Okay.
paid in monthly installments. Like I say, a pretty big number, but we thought for a talent like Stephen, this is probably the minimum number that's going to get us in the door so that we can sit down and talk to him. 3, production costs. This is important. We've never made a deal quite like the offer that we put in front of Stephen, because Stephen, very independent guy. I mean, all of our talent have very independent voices. Obviously, we can't tell them what to say. You know, Candace says what she wants, and Jordan Peterson
And sometimes it lands us in trouble because she's routinely saying anti-Semitic shit.
says what he wants, Ben, Michael. But Stephen has always built in this protection for himself that he wants to actually produce his content. He doesn't want, most of our guys, they come to the studio and we turn on the cameras. We point the cameras, we point the lights. Stephen likes to do that with his own team to just make doubly sure that no one's interfering with his content, not that we would. And so we anticipated that, and we said, Crowder will bear the burden of production, including all costs associated therewith, on all the content contemplated herein, except on the quarterly and annual content contemplated below. We'll get to that part a little bit later. It's kind of a novel concept. The quality of the production will be as good as or better than is currently existing content. This just, again, Stephen's going to produce his own content. It has to be as good as the stuff that Stephen's audience has come to expect from him, and that'll come out of the $50 million. So it's not like all of that $50 million goes right in Stephen's pocket. He's going to use some of it to pay for.
Wait, what? I don't want to do this. 3 minutes ago, it was never about the money. Here's the proof. www.stopbigcon. Ooh, drama. Yo, this is fire, dude. Ooh, the Chuds are fighting each other. I love it. Let them fight.
Producers and studio space and camera equipment and operators and lights, just like we're going to use some of the money that we make to pay for the infrastructure and the technology and the marketing and the legal and all the other parts that go into making a successful business. Revenue collection that says we'll have the exclusive right to realize revenue in connection with all of his content and brand. We're paying you this guaranteed significant amount of money, $50 million. And for that, one of the things we're buying is the content, but we're also buying the right to monetize the content so that we can have a chance of making some money and not just spending money. What is the content? First, we broke this into daily, monthly, quarterly, and annual content. The daily content is going to be very obvious to you. He'll deliver a 1.5-hour Louder with Crowder audio-video show of a quality and kind consistent with the shows that he's currently producing 4 days a week. That's 192 original episodes a year if you factor in 4 weeks of vacation, including all ad reads and promotions as requested by us. So he's going to continue to produce his show, his Louder with Crowder show, 4 days a week, 192 times a year. And that'll include us being able to put ads in it and promotions in it. They'll be filmed in studio daily, Monday through Thursday. At least 1 hour of them will be outside the paywall.
It's going to be really funny when my joke was it was actually the truth. And that, like, this literally is about the racism clause. Like, Steven Crowder should be allowed to be racist and get banned and not withstand any kind of scrutiny from the company. That's awesome. That's a 6-hour work week. I'm going to fucking lose my mind. Holy shit, this motherfucker turned down 6 hours. $12.5 million for 6 hours of work. Brother, even Anderson Cooper works harder than that. What the fuck?
That's much how Stephen already operates. That's the part that goes out on podcasting. It's the part that goes out on YouTube. It's the part that goes out on Rumble. And at least 30 minutes inside the DW Plus paywall. So in the same way that right now he has his Piss Off YouTube segment that has historically been at Blaze, well, he would still do that same kind of concept. 30 minutes of the show would now be behind our paywall. Crowder can bank or pre-record a limited number of episodes upon our approval and reasonable discretion. Days without new original episodes will be scheduled in advance, subject to our reasonable approval. What's this about? Well, a guy like Crowder, in addition to his 4 weeks of vacation.
One thing I have to mention is that like Crowder, and this is like super common in the conservative media sphere, is getting the homie hookup. Okay? So for a lot of people who are saying like, oh, he blew the bag, remember that this is not his true value. This is 100 million % the homie hookup. A lot of conservative media runs on this mentality. Okay? Because they have like seemingly an endless pool of funds, not just from like rich assholes with disposable income that are willing to buy every ugly mug and t-shirt that you shill their way, but like as I talked about on the Leftovers podcast, like the Federalist as a newspaper is like a famous example of this. Like it's basically funded by dark money. Nobody knows. And we know for a fact, like the things that we can manage, the things that we can look at, like their output, like their eyeballs, that does not justify having like a legitimate newspaper, you know what I mean, in circulation. So there is definitely this like weird disparity, but people still make like $100K, $200K, $300K a year to write like op-eds about how sissy hypno should be banned and abolished, you know what I mean? Like, and they can do that. They can do that. They can get away with it because they just have, a lot of rich people who understand the value of propaganda and will fund it, okay? They have an endless pool of funds and wealth, and they are willing and able to dump it.
There's just also going to be times where he, for whatever reason, maybe he's got a speech, maybe he's got a stand-up comedy gig somewhere around the country. If he were to come to us and say, hey, I can't really shoot a show on Thursday because I'm going to be doing this stand-up gig, that's fine. Let's shoot 2 episodes on Tuesday and we'll roll one of them out on Thursday. It's just giving us all the maximum flexibility to still make the episodes, but for Stephen to be able to live the other important.
Yeah, but isn't that like for both sides of politics? Brother, if you're in here, even by accident, or deliberately in here, there is no both sides in politics. Like liberal media, mainstream media, with the exception of Fox News, is like still fairly right wing, and they have a lot of funds. Right wing media, that is both Fox News and also independent right wing media, is again also hit with the money gun for some reason, money cannon. But if you're talking about someone like myself, okay, or other left-wing institutions, outlets, Jacobin Magazine being one that I can think of immediately. The New Republic has like, they have some, I think they have like VC funding. The Young Turks, Democracy Now! A lot of these outlets, and even myself, if you want to think about myself as like an outlet, Navarra, The Intercept is billionaire funded, so it's a little bit different, but The Intercept is like one of the few instances that like a billionaire was like, I want to make a fucking newspaper that's like kind of libertarian. And, but basically all of these outlets are completely funded by grassroots. Democracy Now! Is based. No, I love Democracy Now! These are grassroots funded outlets that have to stay green for the sake of survival. A lot of these other companies do not have that. They don't need to. They don't need to have like serious output. Chapo Trap House is another example of this. Like obviously our overhead is low in comparison to some of these like major productions, but you have to remember Sam Cedar, Majority Report with Sam Cedar, Breaking Points, like these are places that like have to have funds coming in from fans. That's it. According to Google, Steven Crowder has double your viewership. I don't like him, by the way, but doesn't that contradict your statements? What did you Google to find this this number? Because it is not true. Straight up your names and viewership? What? I showed it already. Whether it be Google Trends, whether it be like actual numbers on YouTube, a valid site, my numbers are larger than Steven Crowder's, which is fine. I mean, he has more subscribers than I do. That's definitely one thing. But I don't know what you did here, but it's not correct. You probably looked at YouTube subs, or you looked at like fake Rumble botted views or something, and you came to that conclusion, I assume. I suspect.
Important parts of his life. 192 episodes. Obviously, there are 260 work days in a year. Most Americans work 260 days a year minus 10. That's 2 weeks of vacation. So they work about 250 work days a year. And we're telling Steven, you've got to produce 192. So already, even to say 4 weeks of vacation, that is probably above average, but it doesn't really capture the reality of this, which is there are going to be, 60 days basically of the year where Fridays, we call them, where Steven basically doesn't have to produce a show. And you may say, well, that's still a lot. And I know Steven says that's more than even, network TV would ask for. Yeah, these are points that can be negotiated. I still think most people feel like, if you're only working 4 days a week and you get 4 weeks off every year and you can pre-schedule even additional time to be traveling by banking episodes, you would at least say, you may think, well, he needed to negotiate that and get it down to 170 or something. Sure, I thought he would, but it's certainly not unfair to expect someone that is making $50 million.
It's so funny, dude. This is such a hilarious take, man. What are we talking about, brother? 1.5 hours every day, 4 days a week for $50 million? That's insane. Like, what? What are you saying? Like, he's like, come on, it's not unfair. Like, yeah, no shit, bro. No fucking shit, that's not unfair. What? I'm losing my mind.
Over the next 4 years to, work 192 days a year.
But yeah, you're right. He's getting $50 million over the course of 4 years, $12.5 million a year. By that same metric, like the amount of hours I put in, what's my fucking worth then? $1 billion? Like, how much should I be making? What the fuck?
That brings us to monthly content. What is monthly content? Well, at Daily Wire, our members are entitled to an all-access once a month with most of our talent. And that's where our members get to interact with them, sort of one-on-one, ask them questions. So we're saying once a month, he would have to do a 90-minute all-access and any promotions and ad reads that would go in that. Right now, there are no ad reads in all-access. But again, you're giving yourself, it's a 4, possibly 6-year deal. You're giving yourself a little latitude for things to change. Quarterly content. We asked that Steven would produce one major promo video and photo shoot coordinated by us for his content at the company. We would want him to 4 times a year come in and make a very well-produced promo, that gives us marketing assets to be able to go out and sell subscriptions, sell Mug Club, sell any merch that we were doing with him, sell the entire idea of DW+, and one backstage episode a quarter or other major live event and VIP experience. So, and annual content. This was a new concept. We said that Steven would do one feature-length entertainment special. That's like a stand-up comedy special. And that Steven would do one feature-length political special. And that's like a documentary, like What is a Woman? This is something we're doing with all of our talent now. You saw it first with What is a Woman with Matt. Then in addition to his daily show, he brought us this amazing documentary.
Oh, so amazing. I'm losing it. Okay. Ad reads, promo reads, all this stuff is like boring. Adaptation rights, stuff like that.
So those channels have to belong to us.
I want to get to the racism clause.
Episodes a year. You got to produce 192 episodes a year. You contemplate it a little bit later. What happens if there's a disability? In fact, we'll just skip right to it. It's item E. In the event of temporary disability or serious illness that prevents Crowder from performing, the fee will be reduced on a pro rata basis, not subject to the fee reduction mentioned above. What does that mean? Well, instead of a sort of punitive fee because he's choosing not to do the right thing, in that situation, you'll just reduce it by dividing the total amount of money contemplated, by the number of episodes, just subtract that, which I think is, again, incredibly fair. If you're being paid $1 for every box you deliver 10 boxes, you get $10. If you deliver 9 boxes, you get $9. That's a different concept than if you just choose not to deliver it, in which case we're going to subtract a little bit extra. And again, you pay somebody $50 million, you should get the work.
Even getting paid $12.5 million for 6 hours a week to bully trans people and teens who are working 40 hours a week for $350 a week. Yeah. Just remember that there is no God, there is no karmic justice, there is no meritocracy, and there is no justice in general, okay? That statement in and of itself is proof of this. This motherfucker screams about like queer Starbucks workers wanting Starbucks to hire more fucking employees so they can like take care of the thousands of people that come in through the door faster. And he makes fun of them while he's doing this. Fuck.
Monthly and quarterly content. Well, this is more valuable content and there's less of it, so the fee is higher, $250,000 if he misses that kind of content.
Oh, this guy's still going. All the data, no matter what you compare, shows Crowder at higher viewership. Argue it's fake or not, but a couple searches on Google shows a large difference. Maybe Hasan's numbers are not accurate, but I'm going off the numbers I can see. Brother, all you need to do is look at Social Blade on Steven Crowder's Social Blade versus mine. Like, that's it. Like, what numbers are you? This motherfucker keeps saying Google. Like, he just doesn't say where it's coming from or what it is. You just Google Hasan Piker viewership shows you at 2.5 million and Steven Crowder viewership. Oh, you're too stupid. Okay, never mind. My bad. I literally thought that he was actually doing something. No, that's the most brilliant. I did my own research, Andy, in the chat right here. Holy fuck. Like, just go to Social Blade and look up like total accumulated viewership over the course of the 1 month. It's like super easy to fucking find. Yeah, my man literally looked at how many people follow me on Twitch and looked at how many people subscribe to Steven Crowder on YouTube, and he said, he's just so much bigger than you, dog. I don't understand. Maybe I'm not looking at the same thing. And said, I brought data to the table. What have you brought? You're just chirping.
Annual content. Well, this is the most important, most expensive content. If you were supposed to have done a complete documentary this year and you didn't deliver it, well, we're going to subtract $1 million because that's one of the most important high-value pieces of content that we asked you to make that year. And then D just says reset. The fee reduces each calendar year. So, every year you kind of start over. You start over fresh. That brings us to 13, reduction of fee from lost revenue or boycotts. Again, this is one of the points that Steven really focused on. He says we're enforcers for big tech, that we're doing big tech's bidding, that we're punishing content creators if they run afoul of big tech. And first,
this is the main point of contention for Steven Crowder, in his own words, okay? Which is pretty funny.
First of all, that's just personally incredibly offensive. It's incredibly offensive to have your friend and ally in 10 years of fighting this fight alongside one another, coming up together, say that you're not sufficiently conservative, say that you're I think he said in the video that we're worse than the left, that we're doing harm to the conservative audience and harm to the country, that we're not sufficiently at odds with big tech. Obviously that's ridiculous. You'll see that it's ridiculous as we go through this and I explain it. It should be, it's absurd on its face. We get content strikes all the time. We get demonetized all the time. We get shadow banned all the time, just like all conservatives do.
That's just not true. Like, that is also untrue. Steven Crowder does get banned fairly regularly because he pushes boundaries that Ben Shapiro does not. Okay? But, like, Daily Wire does not get fucking banned. Maybe, like, sometimes Matt Walsh gets banned because he's literally saying, like, you should murder trans people or whatever. You know what I mean? But other than that, Daily Wire is not getting fucking banned regularly. They are the most popular outlet on Facebook, brother. What the fuck is he? He's just lying. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter because, like, there is this built-in attitude that has been successfully crafted by these fucking propagandists that the right is constantly under the oppressive thumb of big tech, which is all communists. Okay? That victimhood attitude is so permanent, so ever present that you cannot go against it. People just, you can show them objectively that that's not true. You can say Daily Wire is the most successful outlet on Facebook as far as media companies goes, like more successful than CNN. And people be like, nah, brother, that's not true. They deserve it. Even if it is true, they deserve it. They would be even bigger than that, actually, if they weren't being suppressed. It's bullshit. Made up.
Investing tens of millions of dollars every year into technology to try to create alternatives, that's a long-term project. No one has built anything. Rumble is not a true competitor to YouTube yet. I hope that they become one. But right now, YouTube has many billions of people use YouTube, and many millions of people use Rumble. It's a long-term investment to build these alternatives, and Daily Wire Plus is an alternative platform. But right now, we all still are dependent for getting our message out to have access to big tech and to monetize our content. We have to have access to big tech. That's where the audience is, and it's where the money is. It's also where Steven Crowder has made his entire name. He's the biggest conservative YouTube star of all time. You know, he put out his video criticizing us in this contract as not being sufficiently conservative. The number one place people will view it is on YouTube.
I looked at your social media and your view rank is 33K and his is 5K and have more recent views. What? Bro, are you fucking stupid? This is all time. Steven Crowder has had a YouTube channel for years. He has like 6 million subs. Look at current monthly fucking YouTube views versus current. Stop! I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this. My audience is too fucking stupid. Like, just exercise just a little bit, dude. We already talked about it. We already covered it. And it's just like, literally, I'm losing my fucking mind here. Because, like, this is irrelevant to the point of the conversation now. We've moved on from it. But it, like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have no way of, like, exercising a critical piece of thought for once. Fuck! I'm so fucking disappointed sometimes with the chatters. And you come in here with the eminent confidence of someone who, like, brilliantly crunched the fucking numbers. Stop! Think on your own! Oh.
And that's not wrong. That's where people are. That's, of course they're going to watch it on YouTube. Of course he's going to put it out on YouTube. That's where the audience is. Now, Steven might respond by saying, yes, but I don't make any money off of YouTube. I have been demonetized there. And that's a point that we'll talk about.
One sandwich, please. Thank you for the 10 of the subs. Circa 1980s. Thank you for the 5 of the subs.
Out here. Nevertheless, obviously, you and I and everyone else, when we go to YouTube to watch Steven Crowder,
I'm sorry. It's just like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm popping off too hard. It's just like, I can't. Like, after I describe the same thing 700 fucking times. Like, someone just comes into the chat and goes, oh my God, dude, you got it wrong, actually. Here is me demonstrating that I have no fucking critical thinking skills. Please take a look at this information that will prove you wrong. No, it won't prove you wrong, actually. It'll just prove my intellect individually. Oh my God. It's making me lose my fucking mind.
Crowder may be demonetized and he may not make any money. YouTube, though, still makes money off of us. And so in that way, Stephen is still driving, he's still driving success for YouTube. It's unfortunate that YouTube has chosen to cut him out of participating in that success. In fact, I think YouTube is utterly wrong. The only time I've ever talked to the CEO of YouTube, it was to criticize her for her treatment of Stephen Crowder. I didn't even talk to her about the Daily Wire. I had nothing to say at that moment about Daily Wire. But at that time, they had demonetized Stephen. And I used my one audience with one of the most powerful CEOs in the world to tell her that what she was doing to Stephen Crowder was absolutely unethical and wrong. So what were we trying to accomplish with this section? Well, let's go through it. The reduction of fee from lost revenue from boycotts, content strikes, or bans from major social media platforms. A, ad drop.
This is so funny. So this is, I think, the funniest part of this video. Why? Because he says to Susan Wojcicki in the one interaction that they have, what you're doing to Stephen Crowder is fucked up. This contract is the exact same thing that he told Susan Wojcicki was fucked up. Brother, how do you not understand that YouTube as a private company wants to make sure that, like, they are still monetizable, that they are not having, like, you know, sponsors fucking drop because one of their main prominent conservative voices is a racist fucking asshat. You're doing the same thing in the contract. That is what is fucking hilarious about this. That's the fucking funny part about this entire contract.
If Crowder is boycotted or dropped by more than 50% of his then extant advertising partners, that is, if 50% of the money that he's making from advertisers is suddenly gone, and we're not able to replace that revenue within 90 days, then his fee will be reduced by 25% until such time as the ad revenue has been restored for a period of 90 days, and then it would all reset. Stephen says, all the left does is boycott our advertisers, so this just says to the left, your boycotts work and we'll enforce it for you. We will punish the content creator for you. But this isn't about punishing the content creator. This is about if the Daily Wire is going to leverage, I can't stress it, probably $100 million by the time you have marketing and infrastructure costs, by the time you pay for all the legal compliance, all the technology that it takes to support Stephen's show and Stephen's show, even at the price that we offered for it, which he would have wanted much more, at least $100 million. Obviously, if the show makes dramatically less money, well, then Stephen has to make less money because we're making less money. And I brought this up to Stephen on the phone, and I said, Stephen, if your show, if we guarantee you $1 for your show.
This part is hilarious. You're hiring Stephen Crowder to be a racist person. If your contract, you know, if your expectation is for him to be racist, and then as a consequence of that, he gets banned, you're going to dock his pay? You hired him to be racist. That's the funniest part about this. He's like, they're like, dog, you got to be like marginally less racist. Like, you got to figure out the racism dial and just like crank it down a little bit. Because if you get banned, we will fuck you. Which I think is pretty funny. I made the comparison earlier. It's like, you know, punishing is like docking Steph Curry for shooting 3-pointers. They're docking his pay. Like, that's what you hired him to do. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. And now if he does it too well, you're going to fucking dock his pay. That's crazy.
and the show makes $1 in ad revenue and $1 in subscription revenue, then how does the money work? Well, it works that $2 come in, you get your guaranteed $1, we get $1. What do we do? What do you do with your $1? Well, you produce your show and you pay yourself. What do we do with our $1? Well, we market your show, provide all the back-end infrastructure, pay for the 250 plus humans who work to make all of this continue to grow. By the way, we don't pay for one single person more than we need. There's no charity jobs. We're not giving our money away. If anything, we're understaffed by 50%. We ask more of our employees than any other company probably in America today. We drive people incredibly hard because our resources are limited, and because we're trying to accomplish so much for our values, for our movement. So we pay for that out of our $1, and then we pay ourselves. But that's how it works. I said, if the next day one of the dollars, the ad dollar, goes away, now what happens? Should it be that you said something on your show that caused that $1 to go away? Now you keep your $1 and we make $0? I said, that wouldn't make any sense. Obviously, you would have to lose a little and we would have to lose a little. I said, we're trying to sort of emulate the idea of a joint venture. And Stephen said, no, you should lose all the money. It's your business. And I said, well, Stephen, how would we have?
Yeah, he's like, I want a racism clause. That's it. That's literally it. He's like, dude, you're hiring me to do racism. I want a fucking racism clause. That's it.
Have a business? Why would we be in business? And how would we stay in business? And Stephen, this is a very important point. Stephen, again, I think the most entertaining, talented person in the conservative movement. I think one of the most entertaining and talented people in entertainment generally in the country today has created a very successful content generation company, a very successful production company. But Stephen's never had to create the company that actually distributes, markets, and monetizes all of that content. He talks in his video about being one of the only true independent conservative voices. And I find that incredibly offensive. Stephen, the whole time I've known him, has worked for someone else, has been paid by someone else. That doesn't mean other people tell him what to say. He's a very independent voice, and that's good. So is Matt Walsh. So is Candace Owens. So is Ben Shapiro. So is Michael Knowles. So is Brett Cooper. But Stephen, as much or more than any of them, a very independent voice. But he's not exactly a self-made man. That's not true. He was paid by PJTV when I met him, which was owned by a billionaire at the time. Then he was paid by...
Ooh! Cook him! Cook his ass, motherfucker! Cook his ass! Ooh! Ooh! He said other billionaires have been paying his fucking salary. Now it's our turn to fucking pay his billionaire ass salary.
By CRTV for a number of years, which was owned by a billionaire at the time. Then he was paid by The Blaze, which was subsidized by a billionaire, until...
By the way, this literally proves every single... Oh my God, I didn't see this part. This proves every single thing I've been saying. All of these right-wing institutions are funded by billionaires who see an endless amount of value in maintaining conservative, agitative propaganda. Ha! Every single time they talk about George Soros, they are fucking projecting. He just came out and admitted it. Fuck!
Tyler Cardon, one of the real genius businessmen in our movement, turned the company around and made it profitable. During all of that time, Stephen drove a ton of revenue. He's incredibly valuable. I'm not suggesting that he wasn't driving value. He was. I'm only saying he didn't have to build all of that. He didn't have to think about it. And he didn't necessarily have to be profitable. And he doesn't know for a fact that he was profitable because...
This is also true. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you, Mr. Boring. This is the least boring thing you've ever said. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. It's literally proving every single thing I've been saying. I will go back to this video in the future, whenever someone says, Hasan, you have no proof that like right-wing media operations don't have to be profitable and that they are subsidized by billionaires who value their racial agitative propaganda. This. There you go. There you go. I mean, yeah, it is depressing. It is depressing. It's so depressing. But also, it just kind of feels good that I was right. I'm sorry. I know I don't want to think about how fucking depressing that is. I don't want to think about what that says about like our current mode of existence. I don't want to think about how aggressively astroturfed right-wing propaganda is. But also, like, I mean, that is very sad. That is sad. Let's not think about that. Let's just think about how fucking good it is that I was right, okay? That's what I want to think about. I don't want to think about the other side of this and what that says, okay? Holy fuck. Yeah, I worked on the story for a year, and he just tweeted it out.
Because, as he has said very publicly, all those companies, none of them really shared all the information about what was happening with them. So Stephen feels very certain that his show was always profitable, but he doesn't know that his show was profitable. And even if it was, what became of that profit? Most of that profit almost certainly was reinvested into growing the infrastructure and growing the technology and growing the marketing and growing the compliance. That's how business works. And if you're the Daily Wire, we're a very successful company by conservative media standards, and we're a tiny fraction of the smallest legacy media company. If we're going to make one of the biggest investments we've ever made in talent, which is what we were offering Crowder here, an amount of money that puts all of our investments at risk. I mean, if it doesn't work, you're not going to be able to make that kids' entertainment content. You're not going to be able to make that those movies and TV shows. You're not going to be able to continue to do things like sue the federal government to stop the vax mandate. You're not going to be able to do things like...
Yeah, dude, so many sick things. Look at all the sick things that they're saying. Look at all the sick things that they get to do, man. Sue the federal government against vaccine mandates. Like, oh, fuck. Every time they post a dub, it's literally just like an L. Imagine fucking glazing someone this hard who spat in your face after you offered them essentially a no-show job worth $50 million. I mean, I think they're killing him with kindness here. They are unironically, in my opinion, dookie all over Steven Crowder. Like, I know that the right always cares about like who does the racism the best more than anything else. So like it's hard to like the right doesn't have the same issues that the left has with like, oh, that guy's a grifter. He's like fake. He's not, my spice of Marxist Leninist or whatever, right? But this is something that is so beyond the pale that I do think that people that see this video or people that hear about Steven Crowder turning down $50 million are going to just hear that number and go, oh, fuck that guy. Conservative media has always fallen in line to support other people succeeding so as to not rile up each other's fans. Yeah, but I think him glazing him in this circumstance is to show how fucking silly and insane Steven Crowder is. It won't end his career, don't misunderstand me. Pedophilia does not end the careers of right-wing media people or right-wing politicians. But this kind of kindness is deliberate. You are reifying the right so hard right now. This queen screen time done subjective take. Yeah, I mean, literally sex trafficking. And being arrested for sex trafficking doesn't stop right-wing support if you are a successful enough media figure. It's clear you're only saying you're correct. I'm correct. There's no other reason. It's just that I'm correct.
Deploy investigative journalists to Virginia where they uncover the Loudon story that changes the course of a gubernatorial election. All of that takes resources.
He's not riding Crowder. He's not dick riding Steven Crowder. He's actually effectively shitting on him by saying, we love you, look how much we offered you, and look how much of a petulant little fucking baby you are. Okay? That's what he's saying. Understand that. Yeah, this is, KO Fish is correct. My guy just said, bless your heart in an hour-long YouTube video. Yeah.
When you leverage 50, 60, 70, $100 million, you're taking an enormous risk. You're putting all of that at risk. You don't do it cavalierly. You do it because you believe, and I do, that Stephen is worth it, that he's incredibly valuable. But it is still a huge risk. There's also a time factor. He might drive all that revenue, but what if it takes a year or even 18 months to bring over those Mug Club subscribers, to get those advertisers spending, right? Well, you're losing 8 figures a year in the interim while you're, or 7 figures a year in the interim while you're doing that. So you can't just say, we're going to pay you $50 million even if the show doesn't bring in any money. That's not punishment. First of all, 50 million minus 25% is not punishment by the standards of any human being in the world today, right? That's not punishment. That's just reality. He would still be being paid millions and millions of dollars, and we would be actively working with all those people that we're paying out of our cut to go find new advertisers to replace it, at which point he would be making his money again. Same with the content strike. If any major platform, YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, issues a content strike such that Crowder's content cannot be monetized on the platform, then again, there's this 90-day concept, and again, there's this 25% reduction. Now, Stephen, when I spoke to him, he was very upset. He said, I've already been demonetized on YouTube. That's the kind of thing in a negotiation. You scratch through that with your red pen and you say, Stephen's already been demonetized from YouTube, so we can't start the deal at minus 25. You have to already have anticipated that, and that would have been fine. That's just a very common. But if he were making a significant portion of his revenue on YouTube and he lost that revenue, it's not punishing him to say you will make less. We're all going to make less. The real punishment would be if we took all the hit, continued to pay him guaranteed money, whether his show makes money or not, and then we lose the business as a result. And now no one pays Stephen anything, and no one releases Stephen's content. He has to go build it all from scratch in crisis. Ban. The Crowder content cannot be released on any of the major platforms because of his content being banned from those platforms. Then we'll reduce the fee if YouTube 20, if Apple 20, if Facebook 10, if Spotify 10. Same kind of concept. If the content simply cannot appear and therefore cannot not only be used for marketing, cannot be used to grow the brand, also can't be monetized, well, we can't pay him the same as if it was. If you're making 25% of your money on YouTube and now YouTube is permanently gone, you can't make that money anymore. It's not punishment. And this is really what it comes down to. Stephen's philosophy seems to be, I deserve to be paid millions and millions and millions of dollars, whether my show drives the revenue or not. That's not a business relationship. He's not looking for a business relationship. He's looking for a benefactor. The Daily Wire is not a nonprofit. We aren't.
Yep. And that is the funniest part about this story, which is that he is looking for a benefactor because he's used to having benefactors, which is because every single right-wing outlet is sponsored by benefactors. That's why. That's his expectation. Okay? Unlike this show, which is sponsored by you, the people, sponsoring me at the top of the hour when there's a 3-minute ad break. When you don't want to watch a fucking 3-minute ad break and you subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or if you don't have that, get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Because that is the 3 main methods of avoiding the ads at the top of the fucking hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. YOLO Asian, thank you for the 5, get the subs. Bread Theory, thank you for the 5, get the subs. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Ooey Gooey, Rin Sumari, thank you for the 5, get the subs. Louis 525, thank you for the 10, get the subs. Silkos, thank you for the 5, get the subs.
Aren't benefactors. We're a business. We only get to eat what we kill. And, at the very beginning, we thought maybe we could do like a joint venture with Stephen where we have the same relationship. There's no guarantee of money.
Miss Melzi, thank you for the 5
money,
gifted.
he gets a cut. And if there's less money, he gets a cut. But we knew, no, Stephen, at his level, his history, his experience, he just needs a big guarantee. He's earned it. But we still have to replicate in the deal some measure of that shared responsibility. And that's all this was meant to accomplish. You say, well, it's the same in the end anyway, because you're still telling him, if you say something YouTube doesn't like, we're taking away your money. Well, no, if YouTube would be the one taking away the money. We're just saying that we can't bear the entire brunt of that. But But it's even, I think what Stephen's suggesting here is kind of even more disingenuous than that, because I actually kind of came up with this whole concept by watching Steven Crowder. I mean, I mentioned it before. Steven created this idea of Piss Off YouTube segment at Mug Club. And I saw it and thought it was genius. What does it mean? It means...
Yeah, it's genius. Like, as in, how can we get super racist with it, right? It's genius because it's like opening up another funding mechanism. Every time he gets banned, he makes money. If you recognize that, because that is what this is, okay? For those of you who don't understand, let me tell you what is going on. Let me read between the lines for you real quick. He paywalls racism because every time he gets banned, he can then, he gets media coverage over his ban, and then he can like move people to a more sustainable form of revenue, the Mug Club, right? That is literally a part of his funding mechanism. That's how he makes money. So now these guys are hiring him because that's brilliant and genius, like doing racist content explicitly so you can get banned, so you can generate more revenue elsewhere. And then they say, but we're going to shut off your fucking, we're going to shut off your money funds. That's it. You're recognizing the brilliance behind his ways of generating more revenue by becoming increasingly more racist, so he definitely gets banned. And then you're saying we're going to not give you money if you get banned. It's the racism clause.
Steven can go on YouTube, speak to a huge audience. In fact, most of his audience, that's where they engage with him, right? The subscribers are a very small percentage of Steven's audience. Mug Club is a very small percentage of his audience. YouTube is the vast, overwhelming majority of Steven's audience. He can go on there and he can be risque and he can do what he wants to do, but he can be calculated too. And he can say, there are some things that I simply...
Oh my God. He literally said, use dog whistles to drive the audience. Oh my God. Calculate your racism. Why are they saying it openly? Jesus fucking Christ. He's saying, dude, dial back the racism. Just don't get banned, you fucking idiot. Oh my God, he's admitting everything. Did they think no one was going to see this? What is happening? Why did they release this as is?
Simply can't say here because these bastards hate free speech. For those things, come over to Mug Club and become a subscriber. And then for 30 minutes a day at the Blaze, he could say whatever he wanted. And I thought that was a genius thing, and I implemented it at Daily Wire because I was inspired by Steven, who, again, very talented guy, very smart guy. This is
just saying Steven Crowder was very talented at racism, which is why we wanted to hire him. But, you should dial the racism back. Because if it get banned, then you limit your reach, and that's pissing us off.
Just meant to say the same thing. Hey, I want you to be thoughtful about what you say on the free part of the show. Doesn't mean I want you to say things that aren't true. Doesn't mean I want you to say things you don't believe. Doesn't mean I want you to bend the knee to big tech. What it means is I want you to preserve the revenue as best you can, preserve the audience as best you can, and then tell people there's a reason we're building these multi-million dollar platforms. There's a reason we have subscribers. It's so that there is a place where they can't take our voice away. They can't tell us what to say. So what should he do? He should go on YouTube. He should talk about the things that he talks about. And then he should say, listen, there's some new study came out about the COVID vaccine, and I want to talk about it, but these bastards at YouTube won't.
Bro, I fucking love this. I love this so much. It's like I've spent years and years and years screaming from mountaintops talking about how the conservative media apparatus is 100% funded by shadow billionaires who just love their racism. I've spent so much fucking time yelling about how like they literally just use dog whistles and paywall racist content, and like they're this is their bread and butter, is just like being racist. And this guy just goes ahead and in a 52-minute video admits all of it. And he's just like fucking proud of it too. He's just like, yeah, well, what are you going to do, bitch? We make $100 million a year.
Won't let me. Come over to Mug Club at Daily Wire Plus. Go over there and talk about it. And in that way, we keep growing his brand, bigger and bigger audience, more and more people.
Ethan didn't even believe me earlier when I was talking about it.
Revenue opportunities, and Stephen is free to say the things he wants to see. I don't know why when he read this, he couldn't see that. I don't know why when we talked about it after the fact and he was very upset with me, he couldn't see it. But I find it deeply offensive that he won't give me the benefit of the doubt, and even more offensive that he felt that he needed to air our disagreement about this section publicly. Stephen's my friend. He's my ally. It's just a low move. And I'm sure he thinks he's standing on principle. The problem is, you might even think that, first of all, friendship is a principle. You might think, yeah, but some things have to be more important in the public space than friendship. I don't know if that's true, but let's say that it is true. You have to be right if you're going to burn one of your friends the way that Stephen burned us. And Stephen is wrong. I am not an enforcer for big tech. I am trying to maximize the reach and revenue of my hosts and my company, because no company spends more money than the Daily Wire directly marketing its talent. We spend tens of millions of dollars every year helping our talent grow, marketing our talent with real dollars. We spend tens of millions more building technology, tens of millions more on staff and support, building expertise.
What are they building? Like technology to be like a new type of blackface? Like, what is the technology that they're building? We spent tens of millions of dollars a year on a new type of blackface, okay? We go in like Indiana Jones to ancient ruins to find antiquated racial terminology from a time that predates writing, okay? We go in and look at hieroglyphics and cave paintings to figure out new ways of being racist. And you are out here undermining that effort, Stephen. That's fucked up. We're out here, we have a cryptid division, you know?
So that we can, over time, build a completely parallel system, a completely parallel economy. That is not a day's work. That is a generation's work. That is the work that we are engaged in. That's why we've had so many successes. You have been with us for so many of those successes. And I feel like Crowder really threw us under the bus and cheapened that and discredited all of it in saying that we're enforcers.
It's so fucked up that Steven Crowder is undermining generational work, like finding new slurs against like a queer Starbucks barista. You know what I mean? Like, how can I make the minimum wage employee who is like about to kill themselves from all of the work that they have to put on every goddamn day of their lives, how can I make that person be the villain of the story? You know how much R&D that requires, dude?
For the very people who hate us, the very people who shadow ban us and demonetize us and give content strikes against us all the time, when all we're saying is, no, let's be smart about how we fight them. The rest of this document, you're welcome to read it. It's just legalese, and what it says is, if we decide to move forward, this isn't the whole document. We're going to have a longer document. We're going to have to negotiate these topics. Confidentiality. We're not going to tell people about the deal. He didn't sign this, so he doesn't have those confidentiality requirements, although I certainly expected some political or, I guess, personal and professional courtesy of him not going and reaming us publicly for making him an offer that he didn't like. I don't owe Stephen a job, and Stephen doesn't owe me a show. We opened up a conversation in good faith. We made an offer. He didn't like it. Now he's burning us. That brings me actually to what happened after. I sent this over. I did get on the phone with Stephen. Normally, this is the stage where you say, I like this, I don't like that, red line, and we move closer together. Instead, Stephen said, I'm not going to redline this. Not going to have my agent respond. This deal is garbage. You need to start completely over. I said, well, I'd like to talk through why we do it. And he listened for a little bit, and he said, well, you're just wrong. You don't know anything about business. My business model is the right business model. And of course, that's unfair because Stephen hasn't run this part of a business before. Stephen likes to say, I'm only on the air because of Mug Club. But Stephen couldn't tell me how many subscribers he had. I said, how many subscribers do you have at the place? He said, I don't know. They don't tell me. And I'm sure.
Ooh, read him to filth. queen. Let's go. Marx's mistress. This story is too similar to Arizona workers' compensation laws I'm currently trying to get overturned. Most states only compensate injured workers 50 to 70% of their salary wage when they should receive 100% of their paycheck since it's not their fault they got hurt. Same thing. It is not Crowder's fault for being racist since that's literally what they hired him to do. In parentheses, injured workers, please message me if you need help. Yeah. From a labor rights point of view, you're hiring the guy to do digital blackface, minstrel shows, and, you know, find new ways of just like undermining trans teenagers or whatever and like trying to get them to commit suicide. And then you're getting mad when he is getting banned as a consequence of that. Like, you can't.
Sure, that's true. He said, but I'm confident. I guarantee you it'll be $350,000 on day one.
By the way,
no
this
markup.
is why I love this community, okay? People like Marx's mistress and many others in this community that play a very important role in making sure that labor rights to some degree are protected in this country, which has an open disdain for it, okay? That's what makes it worth it, okay?
I hope that's true. But I can't take that risk.
What did you say?
I guarantee you it'll be $350,000 on day one with no marketing. I hope that's true. But I can't take that risk. I've never seen that to be true. I've never launched any talent with $0 spent on marketing and picked up a third of the total subscribers that the entire Daily Wire has built in 8 years in business.
Yeah. I love this so much. It's so good.
I hope Stephen's right. I hope he makes unseemly amounts of money and is able to continue being an important voice in the movement for years and years to come. But that's not a risk that I could take. Stephen implied that he not only didn't like this $12.5 million a year number that I offered him, but that he thought it should be closer to $30 million a year. That's $120 million over 4 years just for Stephen's show. I would still have to spend those tens of millions of dollars every year that I told you about on things like marketing and infrastructure and technology to support the show, the part that Stephen...
What? Bro, what planet? What fucking planet? Bro, there's no shot. There's no fucking shot. Steven Crowder is generating anywhere near that much money, that much revenue. I'm sorry. I don't believe it, but I also simultaneously don't want to believe it, okay? Society has fucking collapsed. If Steven Crowder as a media entity is generating $30 million a fucking year on his own, okay, on his own media venture, when he's getting literally a fraction of the views I'm getting, what the fuck is happening, dude? Says you. What are you? Oh, God. Oh, my God. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. People literally think I make that kind of money. And it's beautiful and wonderful that you think I deserve that kind of money. Okay, but like, that's crazy. I don't understand what... First of all, it's hilarious that he doesn't know how many fucking Mug Club subscribers he has, which I think he was just lying. And the reason why he was lying is because he's just very stupid. And because if he did have that kind of, if he did have like 350,000 subscribers at Mug Club, he would show it. You know what I mean? Lexi T, thank you for the 5. Get the subs.
Stephen's never done. As soon as he said that, I knew we'll never get to a deal. I can't guarantee $30 million a year. I didn't know how I was going to pay for 50. I thought, not that he isn't worth it, but that's a big risk. $120 million is an incalculable risk for a company our size. And again, I'm not saying Stephen isn't worth it. I hope he is. I hope he builds his own business. He'll make a ton of mistakes. He'll find out that he's wrong about a lot of how the business world works. He'll learn and he'll grow because he's a smart, talented guy. And I hope he gets to a place where he's proving me wrong and he's making all that money. But that just was not a deal that the Daily Wire could possibly make. And we'd have to pay it even if he lost all the revenue, or even if he lost enormous chunks of the revenue. It was just an impossible situation. And so Stephen said, we're going to throw this deal out. I'm not even going to mark it up. I'm not going to negotiate it. Start over. Send me a new deal. And because of his talent and because of our friendship, I thought about it for a minute. Talked to my partners about it for a few minutes. And I just realized what I already knew in my heart.
You're thinking of this as these right-wing talking heads make money as a media property. You need to think of this as a political campaign paying for TV ads. They aren't intended to make money. They are there to affect political outcomes. This is just an expense for the right-wing billionaires, just like an expense for a lobbyist or something. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And they do get that ROI, because how else are you going to get people to maintain such genuine disdain for the working poor without a steady flow of racial agitprop that is like making sure that your focus is on all of these like idiotic fucking nonsensical battles that no one should be fighting. Yeah, it's correct. That's why they pay that kind of money, but it's still unimaginable. Mike, what I'm trying to say is, I know all of that. I already mentioned all of that. I still don't think it's worth. Do you get it? Like, it just like doesn't make sense. It literally does not make. That's so much. That's so much. It's like unimaginably so much money.
Which is, Stephen's not a team player. That's not a knock. He has an enormous individual talent. But he's not going to be happy unless he's out on his own. And so I called him up. I said, hey, we're not going to send a follow-up offer. I want you to hear it directly from me, not from lawyers and agents. I said, but the kind of deal you're looking for is not the kind of deal that we can make. He was super gracious, appreciative, kind. We agreed to continue forward as we always had as friends. We do favors for each other. I told him, if you stay at the Blaze or if you go off on your own, go to Rumble, go wherever, we're going to continue to write stories about you and promote you and have you on. Like, you know, we want you to be as successful as humanly possible, and we want to contribute to that. And we went our separate ways. And months went by. October goes by, November goes by, December goes by. And then a week ago, in January, Stephen called me. And he said, hey, man, I can't unsee this contract that you sent me. Said, well, it's not a contract. It's a non-binding term sheet. It's a conversation starter, but okay. And he told me his perspective on it, that we were not paying him what he's worth.
What? He kept it for this long? What is happening? He like, dude, I can't go into the details, but like, I know what it's like when you get a fuck you contract, okay? I know. I've had to deal with that. It is genuinely depressing when you're like, dude, I'm generating so much fucking value and so much revenue for this fucking company, and they're like openly telling me, suck my dick, you know? And I've experienced that many times over, okay? Many times over throughout my career, both at the Young Turks and also on Twitch. But like that, what he is, like his reaction to what we just saw is insane. Like, how much does he think? How much does he think he's worth? Like, I genuinely don't understand. How much does he think he's fucking worth? That he held on for months, and he took it to heart for months. Motherfucker said he wants $30 million a year, dude. That's bananas. Okay, he wants somewhere in between.
That we don't understand.
That's bananas.
his great business mind and that it's going to go exactly the way that he thinks, and we're all going to be proven wrong. And I said, again, I hope that's true, Stephen, but that's not a risk I can take. And then he said, and you're just an enforcer for big tech. You're hurting young talent. I said, well, Stephen, first of all,
you're not young.
No two talent in our company have the same deal. Every deal is different because there's different circumstances. This is the kind of deal you make to protect a 9-figure investment. You can't pay 9 figures in expenses, even if the revenue dries up. That isn't possible. It's not prudent, but it also isn't possible. And he wouldn't let it go. He was very angry. And I got very flustered. I didn't expect him to be calling and laying into me the way he was. I'd never experienced it before.
I mean, his live streams get 500K. No way he's worth even 12.5 a year. Wait, what? If you think Steven Crowder's live streams genuinely get 500,000 people to tune in and watch, I have not one, but 500,000 bridges to sell you. Oh, total views. Okay. Even then. Don't even believe that. LeBron gets paid $40 million a year and Crowder wants minimum 30. What the fuck? These numbers are making me go crazy, okay?
I didn't make the best defense of.
How many do my VODs get? Again, this is Twitch, which is like not very good for VOD viewership in the same way that like YouTube is, right? But I mean, I don't know. How do I look at my VOD numbers? I think I used to get like 500,000, but I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't know where to find my VOD. Is it like dashboard or what is it? Video producer, is that where I can find it? Yeah, yesterday's VOD is at 465,000. The day before that is 604,000. The day before that is 700,000. And then there's like a cut VOD, like multiple VODs that were cut. So, and that's on Twitch. That's not YouTube. Like if I was live streaming on YouTube and then I were to literally keep my VODs on YouTube, I'd probably get like millions and millions of views. Because like nobody fucking watches Twitch VODs. Like it's not a thing that people usually do.
Of the deal that I probably could have because I was so caught off guard. I mean, I made a decent defense of the structure of it, but I was really taken aback. And then I told him, well, I'll take it under consideration, bud. And we got off the phone.
Like, let's look
and
at...
then I wake up yesterday.
Let's look at Valkyrie.
And he puts out this...
Valkyrie live videos, right? Like, her VODs get 281K, it seems. 300K, 281K, 300K. She is consistently getting, what, like 13, 14K on average. Okay. That is like 13K average, right? View count wise. If Steven Crowder is getting 500K, which is like, let's say 2x to make this easier, then his average viewership would probably be around like 26K. Why Ray? Because she's a person I play Valorant with all the time, and she's a YouTuber, a live YouTuber with a consistent audience. Like Ludwig is not a good person to look at, mostly because Ludwig's audience is very inconsistent. If I looked at Ludwig's YouTube audience, or his live viewership and his live performance, sometimes he has big shows where he has 300,000 viewers, and then other times he's like, I don't know, hitting like 20K. Other times he's hitting like 25K. You know what I mean? Doc gets 500K with 20K viewers, and I'm not familiar with Dr. Disrespect's YouTube live streaming and shit.
This video laying into us the way that he did, and you know, he redacted parts of the document. He didn't name us by name, and I'm sure on some level that was...
Yeah, see, Ethan's live viewers hover between 30 and 40K, and his views are 1 to 1.5 million. That's great. There you go. And I am a Twitch streamer with a consistent 40K audience. So that gives you a better understanding of like Twitch live viewership / VOD viewership versus YouTube live viewership / VOD viewership. Why? Why do you have to do this? Like, why? I mean, I get it. Like, it's funny, I guess, to you. But, like, why? Why are you being such a... I've never experienced another fucking avenue of entertainment where, like, motherfuckers personally are just, like, so excited to just, like, shit on their favorite content creator that they fucking subscribe to for 9 months. I don't get it. I literally don't understand. Why? Why are you doing this? Is it you want to hurt my feelings? Like, you got it. You did it successfully. Okay? You hurt my feelings. Is that good? Is that what you want? Okay, you got it.
Meant as a courtesy. But all it really did was create suspicion in our audience. I know a lot of you have been out there defending us, saying, well, this couldn't have possibly been the Daily Wire. And I don't want to be the guy who 3 weeks later, Steven or someone else says that it was the Daily Wire and you feel betrayed. Like, why'd these guys leave me out to dry? I appreciate your impulse to defend us, but we don't need to be defended. This is a fair...
Anyway, all right, we're done with this. This part is boring. I want to see. So Steven Crowder is valued at $12.5 million a year, more than Anderson Cooper makes at CNN. All while Crowder pretends to rail against the elites, yet supports every conservative policy that keeps him rich and everyone else poor. Yeah, that's like basically the fucking grossest part about this is that like everybody always fucking hyper focuses on like, Hasan, you're rich. Hasan, you're fucking rich. You're a rich commie. How dare you fucking act like you care about the working class? Motherfucker, I never said I'm not, number one. And two, I'm still fucking advocating for the working class, jackass. Would you rather prefer if I was rich and did what Steven Crowder does, which is find new scientific ways of making poor people kill themselves? Is that what you want? Fucking idiot. Is the left community too lazy to communicate, stand for, and promote their ideals, or is it more or less opportunistic and therefore less popular area? No, man. It's because, and this is it. This is the number one reason. And I said this earlier, and I will repeat it one more time. I hope this gets through a lot of people's dense fucking skulls. If you are a real leftist, you are shitting on power. Under capitalism, you are shitting on accumulated wealth. Why the fuck would anybody from that position of power turn around and be like, let me fund the fucking guy who's shitting on me and wants me to not have the same profit margins I have year over year? That's it. That's the main point. The main difference is leftists have to self-fund. Leftists have to have community support, grassroots support, because no fucking corporation, Walmart's not going to give me a $12 million a year contract so I can turn around and be like, Walmart is the biggest fucking welfare queen of all. The fact that they are relying on, the government to subsidize how poor they keep their own fucking workforces, they exploit them to the fucking core is insane. And when you say you work for Amazon as a goddamn own, you fail to recognize that I generate more value for Amazon and they don't fucking curb my editorial control. Amazon didn't give me fucking $12.5 million for 4 hours of work. I generate this revenue myself. You think this is the same? Yeah, Shapiro did a fucking hit piece on my income.
The charge is that for a socialist, you seem to be spending large, my friend. It doesn't like You could have, there are a lot of places that are not in West Hollywood that don't cost $2.7 million.
I stream 8 hours a fucking day, 7 days a motherfucking week. I have 2 podcasts on top of that. These guys are complaining about, these guys expect $30 million for 4 hours of work a week, dude. Are you fucking insane? Huh. The Franco Games, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. This is mind-boggling. I'm sure, Philip, I'm sure you have a take on this too. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. I mean, it's insane that Steven Crowder thinks that he's worth $30 million a year, and he got so fucking offended that they only offered him 12.5 for 4 hours of work a week. I mean, how fucking bananas is that shit, dude? How much money do these motherfuckers have that is even remotely like in the field of consideration? Out of curiosity, what percent of your viewership hate watch you? I don't know, dude. It's just bananas. I can't get over it. Anyway, this part of this conversation is over. Okay, we listened to Boring, Mr. Boring. Okay, and now it's time to hear Steven Crowder's fresh off the presses new response. Not that it's time to stop one. Where the fuck is it? Oh, I didn't want to do this. Okay, this is 15 minutes long. This is a response video to Mr. Boring's content. He's so
They
good.
don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand. They can be wage slaves for a little bit. They can be wage slaves for a little bit.
What? I don't get it. Wait, oh, subtitles are on. Thank God.
They don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand. They can be wage slaves for a little bit. They can be wage.
He's trying to be like, this is an own because I was just responding because like you said wage slave and I'm just like using your terminology or something.
Slaves for a little bit.
God bless the talk boy. Those things are worth like $5,000 now. It's an expensive gag. So didn't want to have to do this, but
It doesn't seem like he didn't want to. It seems like he wanted to do this.
Daily Wire outed themselves very, very quickly. And sure enough, if you see all of the people who work there,
This is so
some of whom I
fire.
have relationships with, they immediately tried to make this all about money. Here's the problem. There are a few problems, and I'll go through with some receipts. Everything that was said about negotiations, how they transpired, beyond the numerical.
Here's one thing I have to admit, okay, from a Marxist perspective, okay? Technically, it is wage slavery. If you are working at a fucking company, okay, and you're generating value and they're exploiting you and they are literally taking more from the value that you're generating and paying you a salary, you're still a salaried employee. You're still a laborer. Okay? So understand that as on a fundamental level. However, there is no way that Steven Crowder is generating $30 million worth of revenue for the Daily Wire or for any outlet. Okay? So that's the that's the insanity for me. Okay? If he's out here being like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for the $12.5 million a year that you're giving me," I'd be like, "That's wild. That's an insane amount of fucking money that you got. You're basically running away with it." Okay? Are cops laborers, wage laborers if they work for capital? That's actually a great question. That's why Marxists say that cops are class traders, because from a fundamental class position, police are technically supposed to be alongside the working class, right? But they are the protective arm of capital, and therefore everyone considers them, at least in Marxist circles, to be class traders. They are working for the bourgeois class, the capital owners instead. Yeah, they also got fake-ass unions that are so powerful. I hate it. Okay, let's continue.
Value, which is true, and I'll get to. Everything else is untrue. I don't really want to get into that. It's completely irrelevant. Here's why. Go back to the 20-something minute video, 30-minute video. You've never heard me say or write anywhere online that these offers weren't paying enough money. Why? Because it's not about the money. It's.
I was right. It's about the racism clause. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Oh, I love this. First of all, it's definitely about the money. Come on, you fucking psycho. But I think it's also about the racism clause, which is pretty funny. It's so good. It's so good. He's like, dude, you need to pay me $12.5 million a year, and you literally, I have to be racist. You're paying me to be racist. You need to make sure that you protect me while I'm being racist. That's what he's saying. Yo, it's so good. It's so good. I love that. I mean, I get it. I get it. That's his job. His job is to be a fucking bigot, dude. I get it.
Kind of unreal to me that the only thing these people can still talk about is the money. The conversation was about.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why the only thing people can talk about is the money. Because that is an unimaginable amount of money for everyone in general. An unimaginable amount of money for even people like myself, okay? Like, I make a lot of fucking money. That much is insane in comparison to what I know your output is, okay? Like, you are not making that much money. If you were making that much money and they wanted to, pay you less, then, I would probably have a hard time openly defending you on that. Because I think your output is fucking dog shit. You're a disgusting racist piece of shit. But like, I understand it from at least an employer-employee standpoint. Okay? Again, like LeBron James makes millions of dollars a year, but the bosses make billions of dollars a year, right? Like, and they make those billions off of LeBron James's work. That's the whole point. Steven Crowder, not generating $10 million for the company. It's just not happening.
Conservatism, the movement, and big tech, they keep talking about money. I'm talking about a country. I'm talking about a movement. I'm talking about making a difference. It's not about the money, and Jeremy and the Daily Wire know that. How do I know they know that? Because after, according to what he said, I walked away from the offer. I did place one more call to the Daily Wire. And I made it very, very clear that it wasn't about money. That was not the topic of conversation. There was zero, as they've tried to portray this, miscommunication. It was one last call where the only thing that I asked for, my only demand, was their word, and not even for me, but for other people coming up facing these kinds of contracts. Let's say it's a kid who comes in with 500,000 YouTube subscribers or something like that, 100,000. Let's say it's some other kid you're paying six figures to come in and do it. There's not the penalty of the demonetization or if they're removed from iTunes, Apple, YouTube.
Yeah, sure there would be.
And here's something else. I was also very measured. I was painstakingly clear in taking myself off the table because it wasn't going to be a right fit. That happens in business all the time. But that we weren't talking about me. We were talking about the futures of other people who could potentially.
It's like young Steven Crowders who want to be racist should be protected. It's about the principle. I am a defender of workers' rights and workers' wrongs. Okay? Specifically workers' wrongs. If someone wants to be racist, they should be protected both constitutionally and also at the workplace. I'm here to fight for that. That's what he's saying. Awesome. Love that. Which, by the way, the funniest part about this is something that we already experienced when we were watching Kanye West. When Kanye West went on the fucking media tour that he went on, every single right-wing personality basically said, dude, you can be that anti-Semitic, just like don't be that anti-Semitic. Just hide. Use the dog whistles. Here's how you're supposed to do it. And Kanye was like, nah, fuck that. Steven Crowder was told the exact same thing by Jeremy Boring. We watched the video earlier. He straight up said, dude, we love your racism. We are such big fans. I mean, we used your early racism designs and your racism blueprints here at the Racism Factory at the Daily Wire, and we loved it. We are big fans of your work. Okay? When you did the George Floyd murder reenactment, I mean, fuck, that was so good. When you do blackface, oh, brilliant. Excellent work. Thank you so much. I mean, you are truly revolutionary. You're innovative. You're disruptive. You're finding new ways to be racist every day, and we love that. But if you want to come here and work at the Racism Factory for $12.5 million a year, what we need you to do is maybe dial the racism back and then paywall it. Like an OnlyFans. Like an OnlyFans for racism. You can say the N-word. You can say the F-word. You can say all of the words. You can use our R&D that we have on the back end, the ancient tombs of racism that we have unlocked back there. Use that on your OnlyFans. Paywall it. But when you're on YouTube, you can't get banned. That's what he's mad at. He said, fuck that, YOLO, I need to get banned. I need to say it. I need to say it all the time, not just on OnlyFans. I will not keep it paywalled. I will say it out loud, and I'll say it proud. And you cannot financially punish me for it. I fucking love that, dude. It's so good. Everything I say all the time about these fucking assholes just openly present in this conversation.
Actually be in that position, that very disconcerting position. No miscommunication. What I'm talking about is you're describing a model for everyone, not just, let's get rid of me here. Everyone, if there's a penalty for being demonetized on YouTube, because your business model requires that be a huge component of it.
By the way, Jeremy Boring got ahead of this and said everyone has a different contract. They probably don't have this for, Ben Shapiro, because they already fucking know that Ben Shapiro is not going to get banned off YouTube, you idiot. He knows how to do the dog whistles. He'll go on MLK Day and be like, black people are fatherless and also thugs, but he won't say the N-word, which Steven Crowder doesn't either, but he won't do he will take the long way to say the N-word on MLK Day. The Civil Rights Act is actually unconstitutional, abolish it, things like that. Crowder, on the other hand, just will be like, I'm going to do the most racist depiction of a black person I possibly physically can. Okay? Ben knows to take the scenic route, so it's not on his fucking contract. You don't.
You need to change your business model or this movement cannot work, Jeremy. I can't imagine my show trying to come up and be beholden to YouTube advertiser guidelines, let alone, honestly, being beholden from a conservative entity with hard strikes, right? Being removed, but let alone being advertiser friendly. We know how broad those guidelines are. They might as well just read.
Wait, he dropped I'm thinking about this from the point of view of other content creators that will come after me, to back to I again. He's using the royal I here, I think. When he says I, he means all the other young up and comers. I think that's what he's saying, right? Doesn't seem like it though.
Don't say anything offensive, and they change them at the drop of a hat.
I'm not suggesting that the guidelines aren't terrible. I'm suggesting that if making money off of those platforms is part of how you're justifying the salary you're paying someone, then or the fee I keep saying salary, the fee you're paying someone, then when those go away, everybody loses money. You can't pay the same amount with less revenue.
How about you create a different business model?
Oh, fucking own, dude. Let's go. I love this. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I was so frustrated earlier thinking about the unimaginable amounts of money that they get in funding. and how fucking devastating that is. But now I'm back to it, baby. I'm back to having fun. I'm having fun at the expense of conservatives infighting because they're sweating the small stuff like $12 million, $30 million, who gets to say the N-word, how frequently, you know, that sort of thing. Imagine a life where you're literally like saying, you're looking at the barrel of a fucking $50 million contract and going, not for me. I need to be able to be openly racist and get banned regularly. You're a fucking asshole. In a weird way, it is at least morally consistent with the weird fucking moral system that Steven Crowder has created for himself. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm riding or dying for being able to be as racist on the main as I can.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Of course, telling someone else, hey, change your business model. I get it. I'm in no position to say that unless, instead of Monday morning quarterbacking it, here's the thing. I didn't just offer criticisms. I offered a guide on how to, here's the deal.
Dog, you wouldn't be going to him for funding, or like you wouldn't be looking at him for like money that he's offering you if your business was as sustainable or made as much money. What the fuck? This is like me telling Twitch, you know, it's like me telling Twitch how to fucking generate revenue. Like I can't, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Like I have good suggestions, okay? I have good suggestions, but ultimately, like, I don't know what the fuck, how much the cost is on the back end. You know?
I want to sit at the table with people who, granted, have an immense amount of power and have incredibly deep pockets. That is all true, to be clear. And by the way, it's something that I want to have on our side of the aisle. But I offered a guide on how to do it. It is incumbent, this is what this is about. It is incumbent upon conservatives, if we believe what we say, to uncouple, to divest, if you want to use that term, from big tech. For the business models of the movement as we move forward, to not rely on playing ball with Facebook and with YouTube. That is something that we have to move toward. You know that we've been trying to do that here for years. That's why every single show we say, hey, if you can watch on Rumble, please do so. We're not looking to be banned on YouTube, but we certainly won't compromise the truth in order to be advertiser friendly. Here's the thing, Daily Wire, Jeremy, and I really do hope that we can talk at some point. Please, you can pick up the phone. We've done that. We here have found a way to make that work. For proof, see election night, our numbers on Rumble there, and see the numbers on Rumble when we get suspended from YouTube. I think it was 4 times this last year. And I went to great lengths to communicate that to the people at Daily Wire.
Dude, come on, brother. Yeah, you got 4 times the numbers on Rumble because it's fake. It's just not real. You're out of your mind, dude. Dude, come on, look at my Rumble. Look at my Rumble, dog. I'm killing it. I got so many views, dude. Come on, give me 30 million.
There can be no next me if the people at the top with the financial resources.
If he's getting 4x the numbers on Rumble, why are you still on YouTube? Yeah, literally. What's up? That's such a good question, man. Why aren't you just exclusively streaming on Rumble? I don't understand. Why don't you just like host all your videos on Rumble, as a matter of fact? I don't know. I wonder what it is. I mean, you're killing it.
Are doing the bidding. That's being the arm of big tech. What you just said is, well, we have to play ball with big tech if we want to make money. Well, I don't. Why don't you guys follow a model like I have and scale it? That's what I've been doing since 2014. You know that. Has been trying to make sure, which I thought we were all doing, that we can all flip the bird to Silicon Valley. This is saying we need him and you need to play ball.
And by the way, before some of you ask for this, look, there's always...
He just sounds so whiny. He's like, he feels hurt. He's so hurt. I don't get it. Like, why don't you do what I've been doing and like scale? Oh my God. Well, maybe Daily Wire should start selling mugs, maybe. That's been so good for me.
Personal information on phone calls. And for the record, I've recorded 3 people on phone calls in my life. All three are involved with big tech. Just to be clear.
He's like, Jeremy Boring, not trustworthy. And that's the reason why I did it. Dude, it's so good. This stuff is really funny because, like, he said Daily Wire, big tech. I'm not gonna lie, like, this, for the first time ever, I always assumed that, like, maybe Steven Crowder, like, is at least, like, kind of smart, and he's just, like, portraying himself as, like, dumber than he actually is, specifically for monetary gain. Like, I'm realizing, he's just as stupid as I thought he was. Like, he's just very dumb. Like, he's not a very smart guy. This entire thing and the way that it is unfolded is showing me he's just not a smart guy.
The entire call transcript has been sent to others to verify without hopefully having to release the whole thing. And I'll be on Tim Pool's show, I believe, on Monday to talk about it. Now, this is something else that's been brought to my attention. Look, some people have been sent out from.
I really thought you were calling the DW guy Jeremy Boring as an own. That's his name. No, his name is literally Boring. Like, I wasn't kidding. That's actually his
Daily
name.
Wire, and have gotten very personal. Obviously, when we released this video, we didn't name names, and I told you there are a lot of people in the space who have made offers, and it is true. There are quite a few, and there are some others that have been pretty similar to this. This isn't an incredibly unique scenario, but there have been some good people out there too, and we're still talking with them. So I do know that some people from Daily Wire have come out, maybe been instructed to. I have no idea. I don't care. And they've gotten very personal. I don't want to do that. At least I didn't want to. But now it's sort of necessary for me to do so. So these are the only personal things I will say about the people at Daily Wire. Andrew Klavan is one of my favorite people of all time. He has an unbelievable skill to make you feel like the smartest guy in the room, even though I guarantee you he's smarter than you. There are very few people whose company I enjoy more than Andrew Klavan. Jordan Peterson,
like a motherfucker,
is not only a friend, I would go to the wall for him. He's a guy who has changed the landscape of our country for the better. Can't say enough good things about him. Ben Shapiro is possibly the smartest person I know. That's as personal as I'll get. Now, here's the thing. Only after that final call, after negotiations had fallen through, pleading on the side of principle and knowing that it was completely met with deaf ears, did I come out like I did? See, here.
What are his principles? To be able to be racist. Come on, man. Is so good. His principles are to be able to be racist. I can't get over it. I love this shit.
Here's the thing, they keep talking about a business. Well, I walked away from the table because I'm talking like it's about a country, about a movement. And this is the thing, the response that I've heard over the years, it's not just now. I've been doing this for a long time. You constantly hear, it's just business. It's just business. Well, guess what? It's not to me. Sure, I run a business, but it's not just business. And let me ask you, when have you ever heard someone say it's just business when they're doing the right thing? Ever hear someone give $250,000?
Bro, like oh my God, he's like saying all these things, but what he means, the right thing, is literally the right to be bigoted, dude. What the fuck? I need to keep adding this as a qualifier because, like, it just makes it so much funnier. It makes it fucking hilarious. He's like, dude, no one's ever done something nice after saying do the right thing. Like, what he's talking about literally is, like, he just wants to keep getting paid after getting banned because he knows he's going to get banned. Because he can't stop being openly racist. Like, all the expectation from Jeremy Boring, which is his real name, okay, that wasn't a meme, was just use dog whistles, dog. We had to put that in as a contract stipulation because we know you can't fucking hold yourself back. You, like, go too racist, you go too far, you get banned. It's bananas. Just paywall it. Keep that good shit. You know what I mean? Keep that good shit behind the paywall. He's like, nope, won't do it.
Dollars to charity and say it's just business? And here's something that I would like to ask you, because I know that they've tried to play the identity politics and, misrepresent the whole financial situation. But yeah, over the course of 4 or 5 years, the total operational budget, meaning 25, 30 employees, all of the costs, security, health insurance, would have been somewhere in the $50 million ballpark for that total operational budget. That is true. Okay. First off, I think it's a good thing for conservative companies out there to be generating or capable of generating far more than that. It'd be better than just Disney and just Netflix and just Hulu Plus. And I'd like the people who are in charge of that to be people who are willing to walk away from that if it comes with strings attached, with people who hate everything you stand for. So let's take that at face value, okay? I want you to ask yourself this question, okay? Put yourself in.
I hope he cries. I love this. Look, this man rides or dies, dude. He rides or fucking dies, dude. He needs to do it. He wants to do it. Nay, he has to do it. He will die if he doesn't say the N-word. Yeah? So much for the tolerant left, I say. You're really going to let this man paywall all of the racist things he wants to say openly? Really? All the transphobic things he wants to say? Really? What if he dies? It's fucked up.
In my shoes. What would it take? How much do your principles matter to you? What kind of a headspace would you have to be in to walk away full stop from $50 million?
Oh my God, he's like using this as a fucking way to just be like, I'm so principled. It's awesome. I love it, dude. I love it. Let
me ask you even further. What would it take for you to be willing to walk away from at least $50 million because of it causing harm to someone else that doesn't even affect you?
That's bullshit. I'm willing to bet that the Daily Wire doesn't have that ban stipulation on anyone else's contract. I am willing to bet that not a single other person at the Daily Wire has that kind of contract. 1,000,000%. There's no way. It's like expected. You know what I mean? It's a given. Nope, not even fucking Candace Owens, not Michael Knowles. I don't even think Matt Walsh has that kind of contract. You want to know why? Because as paid employees, they are not getting paid as much as Steven Crowder is getting paid. He basically said it. Jeremy Boring said it. He literally said it. He said, we are giving you so much money, way more than you fucking deserve, that like you can't expect us to not get a return on that investment, and you're a big risk. That's it. No, not even Matt Walsh. I fucking highly doubt that Matt Walsh even has that contract stipulation. I'd be shocked if any of them do. Okay? I'd be shocked. Steven Crowder's latest video tragically proves that he knows nothing about 3 things: business, contract negotiation, friendship, and decency. Again, here's Jeremy going through our full initial non-binding offer to Steven line by line. Oh, so good. Makes me feel better about my contract that makes me serve you the top of the hour every hour for 3 minutes, and then a secret 1-minute ad break in the middle of the hour. Especially when you can avoid said ads by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Spy Monkey, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Andro Filer, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 15 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. There's a Rumble video. You sent me a Rumble link? What the fuck is this, bro? What are you... We're not seriously going to Rumble now, are we? Is that what we're doing now? I'm not that desperate. I don't need to hear conservatives that bad, bro. You know what I mean? I'll wait till it's on fucking YouTube, okay? Motherfucker's about to be like, dude, you got to check out this Truth Social link. Like, this shit's spicy. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Oh, this is so good. What a gift. What a gift.
But the next kid. I've talked about this. You know, you have it in comedy. I'm never going to be the guy who pulls the ladder up after me. What motivates me is not money. Of course, everyone here likes nice things. They want to make a living. You've heard me say this many times. I want to pass the torch. I want there to be someone else to do this. It can't happen.
I'm willing to bet if the $12 million was to pay for all of his employees, some of the motherfuckers that work with him are going to be pissed at him. They have to. They're going to be like, dude, you dropped the bag. Like, they were going to give us $12.5 million, you fucking asshole. Are you crazy?
If this is how our movement is structured. And you know that, by the way, this could do irreparable damage to the movement, the country, and the people who've fought so hard for the ground gained if we've decided to get in bed with these people who want to strip it away. I'm asking, would you walk away? What would it take for you to walk away from $50 million? Because it's true. That's exactly what I did. It's exactly what I'm doing. And so long as these contracts out there include enforcement of big tech, of punishing conservative creators on behalf of the people we claim to fight and the people who have long since demonetized us and can't stand me, and part of me doesn't blame them. As long as these contracts include that, not even for me, but the next person, I wouldn't take $1 billion. And certainly not if you understand in context, when behind closed doors, I know, and these people know, and acknowledge exactly what's being done to the next generation of creators.
Bench talent, young talent, they don't get deals like this.
So they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
Yeah, no, he's saying if you're a young talent, you get paid nothing, which is usually, which by the way, of course, media, that is how it is. It's fucking awful. But they don't get the fucking $12 million contracts. That's what he's saying. I'm not even defending either of these people, by the way. Just, I hope people don't even misunderstand what I'm saying. Because this is awesome. I love that they're fighting because they're both pieces of shit.
that you then own.
Well, I own parts of it. I don't own it. They can, when their contract's up, they can still go out and they'll still be famous. They can keep doing their shows, so go do a show somewhere else. They'll be in a far, far, far better place. You helped make them.
No, not long as this contract. This contract owns it in perpetuity even after the contract.
I would play the part of the call where we talked about our kids' Christmas and him buying baby formula for his brother's children, but I wouldn't even know how to secretly record phone calls with my friends. Wow, people are mad, dude. I think, oh, this is so sick. They're like actually butthurt. Oh, this is so good. They're petty, dude. I'm living for this. Oh my God. Conservatives get to have all the fucking fun. Leftists are so stupid and constantly fucking fighting one another every goddamn day. This is the kind of content that they could like sit back and enjoy every fucking day. Oh my God. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love it. I'm not touching it specifically because I don't want any of them. You say quote tweet him, but if I enter the fold, I not that I'm like a relevant figure or anything, but like I don't even want them to recognize that like we're enjoying this right now. You know what I mean? You don't tap the glass, especially when you're someone like myself, an enemy to all of the parties involved. You know what I mean? This is the hill you died on. This is the hill you die on if your contract stopped you from being anti-women. What is this?
You don't respect trans women because you're transphobic. I don't respect them because they're women. Trans includes radical misogyny.
What do you mean? This is like, I've made this joke. You motherfuckers just sent me my joke. How many times have I made that joke? It's always funny when it's like people in the chat who've heard me make that joke go, "Hey, but it's in the format of a TikTok, so it's different." Yeah, my joke didn't have Hosier playing in the background though, so I took an L on that one, I'll admit. All right, let's continue.
Contract, you're paying a lease but getting ownership. That's what this contract is.
On the content that we paid to produce, yes.
You know, look, I understand there are going to be differing opinions on this. I understand that. As someone who does run a business and has I think maybe 25 employees, I don't know, we're expanding. I understand people run businesses differently and have different priorities. Here's the thing. I would genuinely still, Daily Wire, Jeremy, love to sit down at the table and explain to you how you can make all of this work.
Dude, why the fuck would they, what? Why the fuck would they listen to him? I don't get it. What is happening? What the fuck? I don't get it. Like, does he think he's him? Does he think he's that guy? Is that what he thinks? I don't know what's happening here.
How you can scale what we do and not have to be beholden to the people who we all go out and claim that we're fighting, and especially with all of the financial resources that you have, which, by the way, are very impressive. And by the way, since fielding requests for people who've sent this in you guys are under these kinds of contracts, right? You've sent in your emails. If you're looking to either join a network or looking to navigate these contracts, we've been flooded. I'm going to try and get to all of you. But here's the thing.
Yeah, so many people are like, dude, damn, I'm reply under Crowder and Ben Shapiro saying I'm on your side. No, man, I can't instigate in that situation. I would have a galvanizing effect. It's like, don't fuck it up when the opposing team is infighting. You have to be delicate, okay? You can't just like get in there and remind them that they're fighting against you. You want to hear Tim Fool?
But there's a lot of things that I do want to.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Let me give you my word right now. My word. Everyone, you can timestamp it, call me on it. Here at Mug Club, we will never take any ownership over your social media platforms or your channels, and I don't want a dime ever of your YouTube revenue. You make your own decision as to whether you want to be monetized or not. Some people want to, some people don't.
Cost. I said,
I have a problem with requiring that you do and penalizing you if you don't. And to Daily Wire, to the rest of the people out there, give me a call. And look, let me put it this way. If you give me your word, this is all that matters here. Just give me your word that there will never be a clause in a contract again for some unsuspecting kid or someone who doesn't have the...
Bro, you're not... How are you going to be yelling outside of the club? You can't even get in. I don't understand what kind of leverage Steven Crowder thinks he has. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand. What is he saying?
Luxury to walk away from $50 million, as I did. True, guilty as charged. Give me your word that you will not penalize them 25% for demonetization, another 20% for a strike, another 20% for Facebook, Spotify, Apple, up to 80%. Just give me your word that that clause, that spirit will not be in any contract sent.
As a Mug Clubber, I'll happily pay for his content and will always do. We support you, friend. This was a very important hill for you to stand on, and I can't imagine how hard it was for you not to sell out. But let me just say thank you. Wow, I mean, his fans are so fucking stupid that they like, I guess they, I guess that they ate it. Bro, you know what's really funny? You know what's really hilarious? He's like upset about not having adequate labor protections. My man, you made your entire career shitting on that. Now, what does he want labor protections for? For being racist. Okay, that's really stupid. Obviously, that's hilarious. Okay, obviously, that is a fact that you cannot forget. But for a brief moment, if we look at this from like a top-down approach, he literally is like upset that workers in this circumstance do not have enough protections against companies. He wants a racism clause. He wants the union to make him strong. Strong in what regard? To be racist. Without any sort of like financial scrutiny. That's crazy.
Out to anyone else who's at the front lines fighting.
Yeah, a police union. Literally a police union. Exactly.
For this country. And we're done. All of this stops right now. You will never hear from me again. I will go out and sing your praises. You can pick up the phone. You have my word. That's all it is. That's all this is about.
Man, he's so brave, dude.
In the interim, to everyone else, stopbigcon.com, be a signatory.
That's awesome. That's, God, every part of this is fucking awesome.
Even try to make this anything but a selfish act that was to benefit Steven Crowder, who wants to launch his own network. Because, and by the way, I gotta say this is the most important part of this, and nobody is talking about this. He receives the term sheet, okay, and he thinks it's so egregious that he's got to make this video 4 months later, right? I don't know what happened in those 4 months after they started negotiating. I guess Steven Crowder woke up, new year, new me. I hate the Daily Wire, so I'm going to go after them. He thinks it's so egregious. The first thing he does is counteroffer and say, let's start talking about 140 million, okay? So if it was so outrageous, why did he go back to them and say, no, actually, we can have this conversation, but let's start talking about 140 million, right? It was only when the Daily Wire then turned that down that the term sheet became so egregious that he had to do something about it.
I'll just add real quick to everybody. Steven Crowder is coming on the show on Monday. I know he's not here to defend himself.
Did you speak to him? Because he might have recorded your conversation. So you might want to come to him about whatever the hell it is you said to him.
I mean, yeah, my view is I was kind of surprised to hear that Steven recorded the phone call with Jeremy because...
Dude, it's so sick. They're just fighting each other. This is awesome.
Mentioned that.
God, this is such a good day for like the worst people on the planet. Us, okay? The sweatiest fucking losers that care about this shit. Us, I mean, this community. It's like this is like gift wrap for me.
There's over X amount of years, and they said, we just can't do this, right? Then he sat and he stewed, and he said nothing until 1 week ago. He reaches out to Jeremy, and he asks him to talk on the phone. And that was 1 week ago. That is the conversation that you guys are all hearing that he is playing right now. So he plotted this. This is a plot line. He planned to then record him to go back and to make this video. If he had recorded this way back during negotiations, maybe you could say there was no plot. Why did he reach out to Jeremy exactly 1 week ago when they hadn't discussed anything pertaining to the contract and they said no and walked away last year around October, November? And then suddenly in January, he reaches out 1 week ago and says, hey, can we get on the phone? And he decides, maybe I should record this. No, it's because he realized he had nowhere left to go, and his next plot in this storyline, in this terrible childhood acting that he's doing right now, was, okay, I have to do my own thing now, and so I need to drum up some drama to get everybody that I know to believe that I am a martyr for our beliefs, and they should dump their subscriptions to everybody else that's part of Big Con and join the Mug Club. How can people not see? I mean, the writing is just so on the wall.
The fact that he recorded Jeremy says that he did plan. Look, I'm not here to impugn his honor. I think you're absolutely entitled to your view, having working with the Daily Wire and everything you've seen. But it does suggest that he knew he was calling Jeremy for this reason. I think Crowder is. I don't know if I think it might be too far for me to believe that Crowder is trying to do this to pull subscribers from Daily Wire or make more money for himself, because the dude already makes a lot of money.
But he does not. He thinks that he is worthy of $140 million a year. Do you believe that Steven Crowder right now is making $140 million a year?
I bet he could.
You bet he could.
I absolutely do.
You bet he could. But how's he got to do that? How's he got to start that? He just had.
No shot. No, you're crazy. What?
In the conservative movement, and you move people away from a business that you want to model. I don't know who's modeling who. I don't know who started this first, but you basically say, I'm not them, come with me. And that's exactly what he's doing. Call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade, okay? This was a plot line, and that annoys me because he dragged me into this plot line, okay? He dragged us all into this plot line. He's basically saying, at one point in his video, this is what really set me off. He's like, and so you might be noticing that a lot of these people, their viewpoints are sanitized, and this is why. This contract, this is why. Essentially saying that Candace is controlled.
Much like the Never Kevers in Congress basically did what conservatives have been doing in Congress, but inside of the conservative party, obstructionism, Steven Crowder is doing what conservatives do, conservative media people do, but to other conservative media people. Create a problem where no such problem exists and make it seem like you are the only arbiter of truth. That's it. This is literally him doing too much conservatism in the wrong place. It's awesome. They're doing the thing. They're doing the thing that I shit on everyone in the fucking Discord, Splinter Discord servers about all the goddamn time. Like I saw, you're not woke enough. You're not fucking woke enough. You're not woke enough. You're not catering to my expectations. Whew. So good. I love this.
It's like the Joe Rogan story I often tell, that he booted me from his show twice, and I didn't get mad at him. I was like, well, I'm kind of pissed off that he booted me twice, like happened twice, and I flew out to LA, but he doesn't owe me any favors.
What a cuck.
I'm not going to rag on Joe Rogan because he didn't do me a favor. If I was on his show, it'd be really great for me. It didn't work out. I'm going to carry on with my life and my business. I've negotiated with the Daily Wire. We couldn't figure out something that worked. We're very different in that sense. And I said, well, it was nice hanging out, and let's work on stuff in the future, and we'll make awesome stuff. I told Steven, I said, I think that the Daily Wire is a massive net positive, especially with like, what is a woman? I mean, that was a massive cultural force that got even mainstream, like moderate lefty types to be like, oh yeah, I've seen that, and start this conversation. Then you did the BLM documentary, of course, that had, I don't think it was nearly as big as What is a Woman, but it certainly had a cultural response.
Oh shit.
These things are tremendous.
Shat on her directly to her face. Yeah, your BLM shit was like kind of ass, but
the contracts, like they're very business-like, the very entertainment industry. I understand that the Daily Wire doesn't. If someone came to me and said, we're going to get investors, we're going to get some prominent conservative voices, and we're going to launch a company that rivals Disney, I'd be like, man, I don't like Disney. And they'll go, yeah, but it will be America-loving, independently minded, meritocratic. I'll say, oh, I'll take that over Disney any day. And then I'll go and do my thing that I think should be the way I want it to be. And I'm not going to be mad at the Daily Wire for the Daily Wire doing a thing. Like,
yeah, but what you're describing first and foremost are the free markets, right? If you don't like it somewhere, leave. I thought we were conservatives. I thought that's what we were trying to preserve, right? A free market mentality. If Daily Wire is so awful, right, and so predatory and treating their talent so horrifically, they'd have no talent, right? Then literally, Steven Crowder wouldn't have to launch a war. He just have to launch an alternative business with better contracts, and people would leave willingly. They would say, "There's more money there. There's better treatment. I'm leaving." That's how the free markets work, right? Because he did not feel, maybe he's feeling a little insecure.
This community has grown to an incredible size, but we still can't get fucking 55,000 people watching on live streams. Still an L, okay? 15K away from that. Eventually we'll get there. We'll pass Tim Pool's live stream numbers.
I was feeling insecure. I think he was reeling after those negotiations. I think there are very few conservative networks that can offer him that money. He's actually, he's burned a few bridges, right? Fox News, he's burned a bridge. He's burned a bridge with The Blaze. How many other companies in the conservative movement does he think can reasonably afford to pay him what he thinks he's worth, right? The Daily Wire. So when he was done, I think that he was feeling tremendously insecure, right? When those negotiations failed in October or November, he stewed on it in November, stewed on it in December, came up in January and decided, okay, I'm going to have to launch my own outfit. I'm going to go after the Daily Wire. And his plot line included calling Jeremy Boring, catching him on we only have seen a piece of his conversation. Jeremy has already tweeted that he called him like, hey, let's catch up. And now he was like, let's talk about the kids and Christmas. They were friends. Very close friends, okay? Steven Crowder has said they were friends, not colleagues, not associates, not, like I would say me and Matt Walsh and we're associates, but friends. He called his friends to talk about Christmas and his kids and said he recorded him and then dropped that recording a week later, pretending that he was doing this to be a martyr. I just don't see how people don't realize this guy is a fundamentally bad person. Like I don't understand how this is even a debate.
The phone call thing's rough.
He's not a fundamentally bad person because he did any of those things I just showed you, but because he recorded a phone call with the CEO of her company.
Thing too is I say this about Project Veritas. I think Veritas should release the raw when they do this stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that Veritas has done that's been very, very important. But I'm often like, you know, it could quash a lot of these.
Liberal, by the way, Tim Pool, big liberal, loves Project Veritas, said that they do important work.
You can see for yourself, minus private information if there's like addresses or phone numbers. In this context, I'm really not a fan of snippets being released because it's like, okay, well, what led up to that moment? Like,
yeah, when he said wage slaves, we don't know the context of. It sounds to me like he was potentially asking a question about, well, do you do this, you know, with all your time? He's like, well, this is different. You're a big person coming in, and we don't have to put as much money behind you, so we're concerned that you're going to have an ad drop. If you're a new person, you're saying you come to Daily Wire, and by this is completely a guess. I have no idea. You're coming to Daily Wire, and you're like, hey, I want to try this thing. You know, can you make my name bigger? Essentially, you're saying, like, here are the wages we're going to pay you. You're going to work your ass off. You know what I mean? And you have the benefit of having the entire Daily Wire network behind you. I think he was probably trying to describe, again, I have no idea, the different mentality between getting talent like Steven Crowder and trying to get him into contract versus getting talent that's new and is looking to become a Daily Wire because they basically absorb all of the benefit. Again, I don't know, but
it is exactly what he was saying.
That's probably what he was saying.
Yeah,
and now he excerpted wage slaves as if he like was these slaves that are working for me. I mean, it's a colloquialism. You know what I mean? He's using that term not seriously, but it allows him to play that excerpt to make it sound like this is how the Daily Wire treats their employees. I mean, it's just horrible stuff that he's doing with Daily Wire.
Jeremy was saying that if a new person with no audience,
yo, you're a conservative. Like, what do you mean? Of course it's wage slavery. You should be backing that.
the content that they say they're going to own, then when the person's done off the contract, they can go continue to be famous and successful, although Daily Wire will still own the stuff that they paid for to get produced while that person was there. And he used the term wage slave. Now, I'm with you. I don't think the words themselves are that big of a deal.
No, but he wants it to come across like a big idea, like it's a very big deal because he's relying on business ignorance. He keeps doing this. He keeps relying on business ignorance, and he's appealing. I mean, this is literally a socialist tactic. He's appealing to, like, you know, the Amazon employees who.
I have a suspicion that Tim Pool hires like people worse than him to make his bitch ass look like kind of better in comparison.
He's appealing to people that he's like, okay, think of yourself as an employee, not as a business person, right? This is a business person mindset. This is what I get from this conversation. And obviously, I'm privy to these talks with Jeremy and Caleb. This is who I negotiate my contracts with. And there have literally been times, because I'm a big girl, and I go and I sit with them where I say, there's no way I'm signing this line, you know? They move an inch this way, I move an inch that way. They move an inch this way, you know, and then here we are. We meet here in the middle where we all feel like this is a good contract and nobody's a slave, right? Because in order to sign a contract, if you fully comprehend it, you're not a slave. You're just not a slave.
Something I think about Jeremy personally, and not too relevant, but I think he enjoys negotiating.
I think he's a shrewd businessman.
If you want to work with Daily Wire, you got to know that going into it. Jeremy enjoys negotiating.
I want to read a super chat real quick because this is an important point. IDG says, Daily Wire's agenda, make profit. Crowder's agenda, saving American experiment. Exhibit, JBP deletes tweet supporting Crowder. Exhibit B, your poll. I'll tell you what I think. I don't completely disagree with that. I think the Daily Wire is a machine. I think the Daily Wire is a machine that is not the ideological like system that I would personally build. We do things very differently here. The people who are here are on salary with no terms. Like if Pop Culture Crisis got banned from
this is a small company. That's how it is when you work for me. I have a company too, a small company where we have 7 employees, and it's familial. You see, Savannah's downstairs. We get to hang out and do fun things. We're a small company. If we grew and we suddenly had 400 employees, things have to get a lot more serious and professional.
That's true, but and I've talked to Jeremy a lot about this. And so it may just be we're small, and then, you know, he's like, when you get bigger, man, you're going to run into these things. And I'm like, maybe. But here's my thing. I like the Daily Wire. I think the Daily Wire is, I think Jeremy and, you know, everybody else involved, and Jeremy's the one that made the video, are seeking to make money and use that money and build more and make more money. If the Daily Wire succeeds and makes money, and then makes more movies and makes more documentaries, that means we're going to get more What Is a Woman? It means we're going to get more, you know, Gina Carano's. It means Hollywood will be weakened. It means as Hollywood falls from the hill, a machine that actually at least...
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, the Daily Wire is taking down Hollywood.
Faceless Machine is saying...
With movies that, like, 12 people watch.
Well, to anyone who thinks that Steven Crowder is not doing this to make money, like, I mean, I just have to outwardly laugh. He's the person in a disguise. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? He's like, I'm here because I care about all of you. That's why I'm recording my friend and doing this crappy thing where I literally could have just said, no, I don't like those terms, and then said to everybody, I'm starting my own outfit. Fair. You walk away all the time. You have I have walked away. I have.
Their Gina Carano movie made $13,000 on opening weekend.
To part the contract. I love those guys. I think Tyler is amazing. I mean, this is what I'm saying. People need to stop thinking that he is some knight in shining armor. He's not. He's not a knight in shining armor. And if you can't see that, watch this video, because I think his acting is never more apparent. Even the titles. I didn't want to do this. Oh, really? Then why the hell did you record him? What were you doing that for? Did you think you were going to go to court?
Fair point.
Do you think you're going to go to court? Because that's the only reason you record someone. You'd be like, I don't trust my ex-fucking wife. Pardon my language, okay? I don't trust my ex-wife, so I'm going to record this phone call for safety, right? You record it because you're nervous that there's going to be a court hearing or the police are going to find out, and you've got to back up what you said, okay? Why are you recording your friend? If not because you think it's going to go to court. Oh, because you think it's going to go to public, and you're doing it intentionally because you know you're about to start a war. People, please use your common sense. It's not even because I work for Daily Wire. It is because he personally he's lying, and he insulted me, and during his lying campaign, he's still lying. He even said something in this video where he's like, now they're sending out their... No. You took... If you're going to aim and you're going to hit somebody with shrapnel and it's going to be me, you better aim correctly, because I don't like shit like this, okay? I have been quiet. I know Steven Crowder treats people like absolute trash. It's a known thing in the conservative movement. Ask anybody that works at The Blaze. Any person who's ever had a show on The Blaze, how Steven Crowder treats people. By the way, you want to talk about contract negotiations? Why doesn't somebody reach out to not gay Jared, right, who used to be with Steven Crowder, and figure out why he can't speak? Why doesn't Steven Crowder release not gay Jared from his NDA? I don't like shit like this. Is all I'm saying. I don't like it.
I want both Daily Wire and Crowder to succeed.
We should do a movie.
That's what we all wanted. Who cares?
Let her cook.
Yeah, something like Lethal Weapon, man. Me and Steve. It's going to be crazy. I mean,
Luke's sitting here. I don't know what he's doing,
man.
It's just bad business. It's just bad
this
business.
is like, whoa, WWE.
Let me explain. I think
I personally just, I personally don't care, to be honest.
I want to try and
I want to talk about the globalists.
We will.
And how taxation.
He's like, I've got my notes.
I want to
He's like, come on, let's talk about the Jews a bit.
A politician.
I thought when you brought my favorite anti-Semite, Candace Owens, on, I thought we were going to talk about Jews. This is going to be the anti-Jew power hour, and you guys are talking about fucking Steven Crowder.
Fair question, but doesn't need to be answered. In Texas, it's legal to record. It's a one-party consent state. So it's like saying, why is he open carrying a gun? Because he's planning to shoot someone. Like, you don't know why he's got a gun. Right. You don't know why he's recording, and it really doesn't matter.
But
this guy's
recording
making
is the
brilliant
action.
points.
Like, if he had a tape recorder when he made the phone call and didn't record, I'd say that argument is comparable, right?
For all I know, everyone in Texas is recording every conversation at every moment, and they have a right to do that, and maybe even a responsibility at this stage of reality. I don't know. Things you say can be taken out of context if you don't have the protection for yourself. Secondly, I think what Steven said in this video that we're probably not going to watch.
Right-wing media is so unhinged, dude. Of responsibility. Everyone in Texas
money,
needs
but
to
I
be
agree
recording their conversations.
I can't do 50 million. I need 140. 30 million.
Bro, who are you talking to, and what the fuck are you saying on phone calls?
I think 30 million.
And then Crowder said he
counteroffered.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't sign up with the money. So why'd you counteroffer before you decided the terms weren't available?
So after they realized the money, that's not an option. We can't do 140. Steven said, then you got to take these demonetization negative penalties out from, like, if I violate YouTube's terms, because now you're an arm of big tech because you're making me follow YouTube's terms of service. You're basically a lapdog for YouTube.
But Crowder follows their terms of service too.
We all do. That's the whole point. The first time I was on this show, it was during COVID crazy, if I remember correctly, and you said, I know you have a stance on vaccines. Let's wait until we get onto behind the paywall.
Let's be
responsible.
Let's not get banned.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 99 things we can, and then the other stuff we can put on timcast.com so that we can slide the conversation.
Oh, you're shilling for big tech. You're part of Big Con now. You're all a part of Big Con because you're being smart and you don't want to get banned until we have a comparable platform to go to. Listen, in a perfect world, we would all wish that we could do. I invest all of my time in trying to support.
In a perfect world, I could be just as racist as I want to, just as anti-black as I want to, without getting fucking owned by these platforms, which already treat us with different expectations and a different set of values anyway.
ourselves in the foot and be nowhere to prove that we were a real one, right? Oh, it shows that you're a gangster because you got shot in your chest 9 times.
Yeah, I think
if you don't get shot in your chest 9 times, you're not a real gangster.
Like a real effective
so stupid.
fighter against that is to use the momentum of Silicon Valley against itself or it for your favor, like jujitsu it. I don't think pushing back is the right use of energy. It requires too much. So you want to use these platforms to, 1, get the word out about new platforms, and 2, as hosting. Because you can host things behind. I mean, obviously they'll get banned.
Whoa,
if they violate
hold
the
on.
terms. Give it to me.
We can check this. Pulled upon who is. The domain for Stop Big Con was registered on 12/12/2022.
Whois.com.
Stop Big Con was registered on 12/12/2022.
Internet sleuths are going to catch him.
Crowder announces he left the Blaze and asked people to sign up for Mug Club on 12.
What the fuck? Why is my No! 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 See, this is why I said don't fucking tap the glass, dude.
Okay, people are smart. They're going to figure it out. Oh, so you happened to look up to register Big Con. Yeah, let's confirm that.
What's
Stop
the
Big
website?
Con.
Yeah, I got it right
Is
here.
it
There you go.
stopbigcon.com?
Right now we are
12/12/2022. So this was registered. Stop Big Con was registered before he announced he was leaving the Blaze. Is that what it was?
Isn't that so weird?
He announced he was leaving the Blaze on 12. Well, look, guys, and again, Crowder will be here on Monday. He can tell us about all of this.
And then he recorded his conversation with Jeremy 2 months after that.
I just want to say, like, we're in the middle as per usual. Candace was booked a month and a half ago, and this whole drama lights up. And then we talked with Crowder. We asked him to come on and talk about this. So.
I mean, there are so many things that I disagree with the Daily Wire on. Like, so many things.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to pull that up. I think that was on his other monitor, and he accidentally pulled that up.
And that's what I want to say. Because, like,
Stop
I said before,
looking,
I've been through the last
Tim.
3 years. You've never heard me come out and defend them. They're in trouble every other week with a different host for something that they said, something that they haven't said. Ben Shapiro's under fire at least once a week on Twitter. People are angry at him. They think it's a shill for this. I don't weigh in on anything. This actually, Steven Crowder's a bad person.
I was thinking, what if they just paid Steve?
I can't wait for these fucking dickheads to be like, Steven Crowder has never done blackface. He's being like, they're gonna do like hyper critical like semantics. Like, yeah, I'm exaggerating, man. I'm making a joke. Okay. I can't wait though. I can't wait for that to be a point of contention here.
Or something. I mean, there's so many cool things we could do.
I mean, I
you
think
guys could do.
It would require Steven to just look at the term sheet and then be like, I'd rather do it this way. Here you go.
There you go. A conversation.
I'm interested to talk to him, Steven, because I think he's got specific feelings and perspectives on what big tech censorship can do to a content creator that needs to be vocalized for future contract negotiations. I've been concerned about contracts, especially with like perpetuity clauses. Like, we own your likeness forever in every universe going forward. They'll deep fake you and make you say things. With deep fakes becoming so realistic, they'll own your face and your name, and it's crazy. We need to get perpetuity clauses for characters for personality out of contract. I think so right now.
Here, I want to say this. Like, Daily Wire's got a lot of haters, and I can certainly understand not liking the Daily Wire or not liking certain personalities. I know people who are like, I love Klavan, I don't like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
I know people who are like, I only watch Candace, I won't watch anybody else. I think everyone else is bad. And I'm like, okay, but like,
that should show that like we don't all agree on everything.
But Daily Wire existing is a massive net positive, regardless of whether you like what they're doing or not. Like, again, What is a Woman was a massive cultural force, and that matters so much. We talk about culture and the importance of cultural dominance so much. That documentary reached regular people. It was so big. I mean, I regular people I know were like, oh, I saw that thing that was going viral, and I'm like, hey, that's good. Do more of that. I don't got to go work for him. Crowder doesn't have to go work for you guys. I should say you guys, but for Jeremy or anything like that. But.
And that's why it's so crappy to paint a broad.
I mean, he's right when he says regular people, because it is irregular people for the most part that would know what the fuck What Is a Woman is.
Crowder, and yet you're basically making it seem like we're all plants and that we've done something wrong, and that's deeply upsetting to me. It's super annoying to me.
I would like to see people stop saying that company is doing thing, because it's people. The people are doing the thing with the guise of the company attempting to protect their person, their identity. But like, no, companies don't do things. People.
Fair point. Someone mentioned Crowder never said the Daily Wire.
Okay, but like the Schmaley Schmeier. I mean, how many freaking, all of the context clues were, it's like, this is the crap, the acting of like, I'm not going to say it was, but I am going to make sure you know that it's not the Blaze. They have a subscription service and that there are live ad reads and that they could afford to put enough money on a contract that I would have a conversation.
Does your character have glasses?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like literally, this is such a ridiculous defense. In 4 seconds, you can discern that this is about the Daily Wire. Can't be Fox News. They don't have live ad reads. He already told you that it's not the Blaze. Where does that leave us left with?
Didn't you say that you also recognize the contract?
Fox News.
Yeah,
well, I guess
no, but even before he got to it, I mean, when you say live ad reads, a subscription service, you can't be Fox News because he's already left them and talks trash with them the whole time, and they don't do live ad reads, right? Who else could it have been? Just give me another clue. Who else could it have been? PragerU, 501c3, not for profit. Can't have been them. Right. Can't be. Give me a person it could have been.
So that's what everybody was saying.
Yeah.
The Daily Wire.
Yeah. So I never said a name. It's like
PragerU is also owned by the Daily Wire.
Daily Wire's part that. The contract said if you get demonetized, there will be a fee, but Crowder's already demonetized.
I told you, they had these same, this is why I'm saying this was just a conversation starter. They had these same things that made literally entirely no sense in my contract. I was like, okay, is this, you guys, like, a lawyer just like copy and pasted this from somebody else's contract? Like, this is just a conversation starter. Like, they just wanted you to see the number and go, excited, and bring your lawyers in, right? There were literally things that were saying, like, I'm not on TikTok. They mentioned my TikTok. They mentioned my Snapchat. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not on any of these things, and I'm never planning on being on them. So we can strike this, and and then you say, okay, this one sounds okay. Can we include an extra line here? Like, he kind of started this idea that my social media channels are controlled. Literally, they had something about access to my Twitter. Took it out. I said, I will never, ever, ever. My Twitter is how I made my entire brand. I will never even share a login to my Twitter. Right? And my Instagram, same exact thing. So they created a separate Instagram, which they're allowed to do, which has Candace Owens Pod, and it has its own followers, and they release stuff from the podcast. I didn't want to sell my voice, my social media things. It would have been nice for them to have access, but it's actually better for them because then they can own that page in perpetuity. Candace Owens Podcast, because I'm creating content for them, so they can share clips into perpetuity of what they have paid for, right? So it's like, that's, again, he's pretending that there was something nefarious going on there. I got the same stuff that made no sense. You'd say, just like he said, this makes no sense because I'm already demonetized from YouTube. That was my circumstance for Facebook. They had a thing about demonetization for Facebook. My lawyer went back and said, Candace is already demonetized on Facebook. And they went, oh, that's right. Strike it from the clause.
For people asking too, like, yeah, when Crowder comes on, I'm going to let him, again, say his piece. I'm not, like, Candace is giving her perspective working at the Daily Wire and what.
I went through the contract negotiations, so there's no way that he can pretend that there's something missing. He didn't go through them. He went through term sheet, don't like, $140 million, wham, going on to YouTube. I went through the full 5-month negotiation, so there's nothing for me to make up here. You know what I mean?
Someone said, what if Crowder and the Daily Wire planned this for attention?
LOL.
Now we're talking.
LOL, I like that. I love a good conspiracy theory.
The Jeremy Boring response video was recorded December 3rd.
We fight. I love that.
I don't know. Look. Again, I'll say it again. Crowder's not here to defend himself. So Candace,
he's on YouTube.
But Candace,
on YouTube
Candace, how do you really feel?
But look, man, I'll wrap up with this. And we'll move on to some big worldly things with, like, the World Economic Forum. Alec Baldwin, we got to talk about Alec Baldwin. I negotiated with the Daily Wire on like, here's what happened.
These people are so unfunny, it's almost shocking. No, it's not. It proves the point I was making. You don't have to be fucking good, talented, charismatic, captivating to be able to be a successful, monetizable entity in the conservative realm. That's my point. I say it all the time.
We talked, we went back and forth, and I said, guys, I don't think there's anything here. And Jeremy was like, I think you're right. We went over numbers, we went over everything, and the Daily Wire said, what if we did this? And I said, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for what we're doing because we want to do these things. And I'm just going to come out and say this. I try to keep private details, but I said, Jeremy, like, I might want to buy a billboard that says Liz Cheney is a fat pig. You know what I mean? Like, I know that, like, the Daily, and he started laughing and he went, well, I don't know about that. And I'm like, look, we're crazy weirdo rogues. What we do at Timcast, we want to be nuts, and we want to, like, not crazy, but we want to just be. We're not the suits, and we're not the corporation. But I think what you guys are making is good because your version of the corporation is better than the Disney version of the corporation.
But I'm not the corporation either. And I want to make that very clear. And that's what annoys me is that people they have this idea of what the Daily Wire is. And then they try to say that every single host exists under this idea. We disagree all the time. Like, there's literally, it's hard to find a moment where me and Ben cross and agree on things. You know what I'm saying? And so they paint this thing of like, There is no, like, yes, the office is very corporate. I don't even go into the office. There's a podcast studio that I go into that is smaller than this, that I operate within. So it's very frustrating because people just don't understand. Yes, he is running his business and there's a corporate side of the Daily Wire. And it's annoying to me to have to, though, answer for people that thinking that somehow corporatizes Candace Owens. I've been the exact same Candace Owens from the beginning of my YouTube days to now.
But I'm not trying to imply anything about you or any of the hosts. I mean, like, it's a traditional corporation. It's got personalities of varying opinions, and like us putting a 95-foot billboard of a rooster in one of the biggest Times Square billboards makes no sense as a business, but it makes sense culturally, and it makes sense. You know, like we want to be more shocking, and the Daily Wire wants to beat Disney at their game. You know, we do to a certain degree, but I don't think, you know, I think maybe
there's something so funny about like being offended at Disney going woke, like, and making things political, like expressly political, which I think is silly in general, right? And then turning around and being like, which is why we're gonna make it political, but in the other direction, and that's how we'll beat Disney. Like, what, you think Disney's main problem is that, like, they're too political in the wrong direction? Is that what you think it is? Like, not enough right-wing politics? Like, that's not how this works, dumbass. You got to make, like, fun shit.
For fun.
Yeah.
And so we're actually working on some stuff. And the same thing is true, like, you know, I talk to Crowder all the time about, well, I shouldn't say all the time, but periodically we talk about culture war issues, you know, what needs to be done, what we can do. We've talked about the stuff that Ian's working on with a decentralized network.
Yeah, I got a new company, relatively new, called Inverted Technologies, and we're building like basically what Patreon attempted to do or didn't quite get right, but that you basically download a packet, software packet, you load the application, you can upload videos to a server of your choice, one that you have at your house, you can upload it to Rumble, and then you can get all these people can pay $10 a month, whatever you want, different tiers of payments to get access to that content. And later, as we build this out, it's going to have search algorithms where you can find other people, other content creators that are using it, and create a network where everyone owns their own stuff.
And you can't be banned. The idea is like, your website can also have a recommended section of similar content, and you as the website owner, so like let's say we did timcast.com and we joined this network, you will see in the recommended tab Steven Crowder. I could go, look, I don't want, you know, he's a competitor and I don't like his opinions, so I'm going to say on my website he can't appear, but he's not banned from the network, just my personal site. So basically you create a decentralized.
That's awesome.
The idea would be you launch, you buy your own server time space, or you make your own server. You buy your own domain, and then you download the package, install it on your server, and you instantly have your own Patreon that connects to the network of all the other people using it for recommendation reasons. Because the recommendation is the real driver of so much of everyone's of people. If you make good content and you make a lot of it, and it rises to the top, people will see it, and that's the machine that needs to happen. But when YouTube bans you outright, you're gone from the grid. When they shadow ban you, you're gone from the grid. This way, you can't do that. So anyway, I've talked about stuff like that, and I want to see him succeed. I would prefer that, you know, the conflict, the arguing, or whatever wasn't happening. But look, I talked to Steven. I genuinely believe that he thinks Daily Wire is a net negative in the space. I don't think he's doing this for money. You're entitled to your opinion. I understand your perspective. I've talked to him about it, and he said that, you know, these kinds of contracts are, I'll paraphrase my understanding. The old guard system created the problems. Whatever we're building has to be new, and it has to be different. It has to be better. And it's funny because when I do deals with people, I joke that I'm a communist, and that's why they're getting such good terms. When I talk with Jeremy Boring, I'm like, this guy's a businessman who's trying to make sure no one can stab him in the back. The fact is, I think Steven Crowder doesn't know this because he hasn't started a business, but I've been stabbed in the back like 73 times. And it sucks every time, and I lose money every time, and my safety is threatened every time. But, you know, like I jokingly say, I'm a communist, so blah, blah, blah. I'm not literally, but when I'm trying.
But that's funny. That's like a good thing. He just openly admitted that, like, treating your workers fairly is communism, and that's a good thing.
People, and
what?
that's
even when they're, what is going on?
Daily Wire for running their business the way business is run. I like the content the Daily Wire produces.
What?
I just won't be there when they produce it.
Wonderful. You're a free market capitalist. Your idea is that if you believe that you have something better or you can do something better, you create the something better. And I think you take out the old guys. I mean, like, is that a foreign concept? Has this become a foreign concept? Like, do we have to all be so nasty? To me, I just don't get it, because I've never, since I've gotten into politics. I've never understood the mentality that you need to step on someone's head to go where. Like, oh, I just need to step on this person's head so that I can move upstream. It's like, why don't you learn to swim if you want to go upstream? You know, why don't you learn to swim and tread some water if you want to go upstream? What is this? What for a little bit of, I'm going to burn friendships. You keep calling them your friend. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'll say my final thought on this, I suppose. And then again, Crowder will be here on Monday. We'll have a conversation from his perspective. Yo, if you're going to stop anybody, I don't understand why going after the Daily Wire is the first target. Even if the Daily Wire was doing these really awful contracts, like, or I should say,
like,
they're doing term sheets, they're doing contracting in ways you don't like, I still think it's like, well, okay, well, at least they made What is a Woman? Let's focus on Disney and Netflix. Netflix has done a bunch of pedo stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the Daily Wire is just not a concern for me. Even if I was going to come out and be like, 49% of the business dealings of the Daily Wire I don't like, but 51 is good, then I'd be like, I'll take that 1% and I'll focus on Netflix doing weird pedo crap.
Yeah.
But I actually think the Daily Wire is much better than that. It's not my kind of business style. So, you know, I hope Crowder just does his thing and succeeds. And I think it's simple. You know, if it were me and I really did see the Daily Wire as a net negative, I'll put it this way. I mean, I talk about Disney all the time. I say, I don't expect you to abandon your Disney subscriptions because they have flubber. They have movies you know and love. I just hope to build a better website that eventually produces enough to where you say, I'd rather not have Disney. That's my strategy. But again, guys, I'm the milk toast fence sitter. I'm the reformer, not a revolutionary. I'm not going to come out, smash the ball on the ground and be like, I will stand for nothing. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do the math. I'm going to go, Daily Wire's doing pretty good. You know, I might not like that, but that's good for us. So, okay, where's our net problem? I'm much more slow paced and calculating than that. I think if the Daily Wire succeeds,
I can't get over them, like, unironically and genuinely and legitimately stating that, like, Daily Wire is going to overtake Disney. I love that. Like, dream big. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, you're going to do it.
I think that Jeremy and Steven have seen each other as friends is important because sometimes it's easiest to criticize your friends. It's easier to criticize your friends than people that might go sue you and don't have any connection to you at all. And that Daily Wire is gaining a lot of steam and becoming larger and larger. So if there really are problems with the contracts or the terms off the bat, it's important that they know that right away from people with large levels of influence.
We definitely got to move on because we got to talk about Alec Baldwin, but two special shout outs. Shout out to Hasan the Hun. He said on Twitter, I can't get over Steven Crowder having his $50 million pay docked for getting banned if he does too much racism when he's being hired by the Daily Wire to do blackface and every other flavor of bigotry. Hasan's obviously joking. I thought it was a really, really funny tweet. I think it's funny. Getting hired to do blackface. And then Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee.
He won the day. I love Seth.
He said, I didn't want to make this video. I wanted to take a nap, but my hand was forced. And then he makes this video where
oh God, I'm doing something wrong now. Okay, they got that I was joking. Okay, no, I was exaggerating. That's not what he's saying. But like, you know, positive reviews. Hasanabi year of PR. What is happening? What the fuck? Okay, they're back. All right, I'm done.
The current poll says, "Who is right, Candace?" I'm sorry, who?
Okay, I'm done with this now. This was really funny. Okay. Apparently, you know how Daily Wire did this Terror on the Prairie official trailer? This movie that got like 13 grand. That's what it grossed in the first fucking week. This fucking movie with Gina Carano. 300 on the first night, 13 grand on the first, or no, $1,300. Sorry, not 13 grand. Yeah. So apparently Carano fans criticized Terror on the Prairie on social media, claiming that the film is too closely aligned with woke Hollywood values. One reviewer going by Let's Go Brandon called the film more woke nonsense and criticized women for being strong like Arnold in Terminator, coining the phrase Jonna Wick. Another person criticized the film's feminist messaging, complaining that the Daily Wire should stand against traditional values and against the wokeness of Hollywood. It made $315 on its opening day from 10 theaters, followed by an even worse $288 on Saturday. For its 3-day opening, Friday to Sunday, it grossed $918, the worst opening of all time for a film opening in 10 to 15 theaters in U.S. box office history. Making 804. Wait, oh. Carano's Terror on the Prairie was released in a single theater in one day, making $804. Oh shit, my bad. This photo is wrong. It wasn't the worst, I think. This was a different, I guess this was a different movie. It made $804 instead. Here are some user reviews. More woke nonsense. Half an hour in, a bunch of nonsense. All the men give up their revolvers. All the men have stormtrooper aim. Woman strong like Arnold and Terminator. Predator, bullseyes, weak men. John Wick. All the firearms have no recoil and unlimited ammo. The men were rebels, a.k.a. veterans, but had the IQ of potato. How did they survive the war? Boggles the mind. There's those who are distinguishing or disgusting, disturbing scene where the teen son watches the mom feed the baby. What the fuck? Watching this movie made me realize that pattern that is forming with Daily Wire movies. They all follow strong, independent female characters who either had to rescue the men who are incompetent or defeat the men who are evil. If I want the feminist messaging, I can go to Hollywood. They have plenty of that. It's supposed to be Daily Wire, a company that stands for traditional values and against the wokeness of Hollywood. Like, what were they supposed to do with Gina Carano? They're like A-lister that they bagged. Are they supposed to get her fucking killed immediately? Because, like Gina Carano as a character actor doesn't necessarily fit the persona of like a damsel in distress. You know what I mean? You can't really stick that when she looks like a fucking linebacker, which by the way I have no issue with. I love muscle mommies. I just wish Gina Carano wasn't so awful. But like, fuck you mean? Like, you want her to be the damsel in distress? Like, she literally, you want her to play the role of a housewife? Like, what's she doing, bro? The only plates Gina Carano knows is fucking 45-pounder plates, okay? There is no cleaning plates. She's literally cleaning Olympic lifting plates, okay? Anyway. She wasn't an A-lister, but like she's the highest tier, like, you know, relevant celebrity that they've been able to like lock down that wasn't like individually a conservative for the remaining like 20 years of their 45-year career. You are so fucking sexist. Yeah, you love it. I'm the most sexist, baby. You know me. You know it, dude. I'm so sexist. Listen, I'm going to turn up the sexism dial a little bit, okay? I saw the kind of money, the kind of contracts that these motherfuckers are looking at on the right. Guess what, Sweaty? You have to deal with it. You understand me? Deal with it. Clearly, they want to see a strong-ass woman being saved by an even stronger man because what is a woman? That's funny. Not great for PR year, but at least you get the bag. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so if it were 1 or 2 movies from them, I wouldn't have a problem. Hell, movies like Alien that follow strong female protagonists are some of my favorite of all time. I just want some variety from DW, especially in an era where masculine men are increasingly rarer and under attack. We are 4 movies in with Daily Wire, and they are yet to make a movie that's particularly interesting. Shut In is still the high water mark for them, but even that was only okay. So yeah, strong 4 out of 10, not good. P.S. I love the Daily Wire, but how the hell did this happen? Every Daily Wire movie is about strong women, and with this one, it's no different from a Disney movie that has an unlikable female protagonist who we are supposed to like, but they make her unlikable and crazy. I'm rooting for Daily Wire, but come on now. PPS, add Matt Walsh to the entertainment department at Daily Wire. Matt Walsh? I know for a fact he could have made some much needed corrections and made a fantastic documentary just a few weeks ago. And he made a fantastic documentary. These are conservative men demanding strong, sexy, assertive, maybe even shirtless men on screen. Hell yeah, brother. Nothing gay about that. What the fuck do you mean? You better not say that. You better not say that it's gay, that I want to see goddamn pectorals. That's what's missing from Disney. Pectorals. It's only gay if you suck dick. Sorry, sir. It's not gay if you suck dick, as long as you got socks on and you say no homo afterwards, or if you enjoy it but then forget to say no homo afterwards. That's the only time when it turns gay. Have these guys seen a single Marvel DC Disney movie? I mean, yeah, it's just it's good. They added even every Daily Wire movie is about strong women. I love that shit. Okay. Speaking of my favorite queens and kings, Congressman George Santos, we already talked about this, but this bears a little bit of a deeper dive, if you will, considering how fucking fire it is. George Santos has been criticized for his alignment with the Republican leaders who say drag queens are grooming kids and supporting Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. George Santos himself was a drag queen in